So hey anime fans, the series name is What If Naruto Was Son of Dragon, so let's start the series, alright. I'm all healed up and ready to head for planet Namek. Thought Son Goku, grinning as all his injuries were now healed thanks to the new batch of Senzu beings Yajirobe had brought him. While Goku didn't know it, he is the spitting image of his father, Bardock, with him possessing the same spiky black hairstyle, dark-colored eyes and facial features. However, he has softer eyes, a kind demeanor and a light-skinned complexion from his mother, Jine, with Goku's most distinguishing physical characteristic being his hair. He has 3 bangs hanging to the right of his forehead and 2 bangs hanging to the left. His hair also stands up in the front with 5 spikes and 4 bangs in the back. He also used to have a tail, a trait that his son had inherited as well, that used to get removed but would eventually regrow, until Kami finally removed it permanently. Taking off the hospital gown, Goku put on his trademark orange gi, with a dark blue undershirt, sash, wristbands and boots. The Saiyan being thankful at being healed and able to finally leave the hospital. But given the news Rashi had given him, he knew he needed to get moving to Namek, having learned that Vegeta was on Namek with Gohan, Krillin and Bulma, with the former 2 being the only ones that were fully healed from their fight by the time that the repairs and modifications to the Namekian spaceship was finished. Even worse is that others were there, a group called the Frieza Force and their leader, who's even stronger than Vegeta. And if this guy's stronger than Vegeta, along with collecting the Namekian Dragon Balls, then I really need to hurry and get there, Goku thought, about to jump out the window and call the flying Nimbus to take him to the Briefs compound to see if Dr. Briefs has finished the spaceship. And just where do you think you're going? Demanded a female voice, making Goku freeze and slowly turn around to see his wife Chi-Chi just entered the room. Chi-Chi is a beautiful woman with long straight black hair, that's tied up in a bun with some strands framing her face, large black eyes and a light skin tone. Her attire was a purple dress that has an orange cloth tied on the top, and a yellow sash. Chi-Chi? Hi, I was just about to head over to the Briefs compound to see if Bulma's dad finished the spaceship, so I can get to Namek, Goku replied, only for Chi-Chi to narrow her eyes at him. Not without me you're not. Gohan is already alone on an alien planet with only Krillin and Bulma. Now I'm hearing Vegeta and more aliens like him are there too, Chi-Chi said, refusing to leave their son alone on Namek where something could happen to him. Absolutely not. From what Master Rashi told me, these guys are dangerous, and their leader is much stronger than Vegeta. While Gohan will be able to handle himself long enough for me to get there and help them. If you came, it'll just put you in danger. Give them someone else they could target, said Goku, not wanting his wife to be in danger as well, since while he knew she was a strong fighter, Chi-Chi had left the martial arts lifestyle not long after they got married and these guys were out of her league, only for Chi-Chi scowl and go up to her husband, before poking a finger into his chest. I don't care. Do you have any idea how worried I was, learning that you were killed and Gohan was kidnapped for an entire year by Piccolo to be trained to fight those 2 Saiyans? He nearly died, then when you came back, you nearly die again. Now our son is off fighting on an alien planet, while you'll be leaving again, and I just... said Chi-Chi, starting to get emotional at the idea of her husband or son dying, only this time it'd be permanent if they aren't able to get to the Namekian Dragon Balls, something she didn't want to think about, with Goku flinching since he hadn't really asked Chi-Chi if she was okay, despite what she must have been going through while knowing he was dead and not knowing where Gohan was. Then Gohan suddenly choosing to go off to Namek despite her protests. Now he's leaving too. Chi-Chi, I know a lot's happening, but you can't come. While I know you're a strong fighter, these guys aren't like anything we've faced before. Even Vegeta was nearly impossible to beat, but me and Gohan can handle ourselves, and both of us will come back safely, said Goku said while putting his hands on her shoulders reassuringly. Do you promise? Promise that you'll keep Gohan safe and make sure you both come back home, alive? Chi-Chi asked, with the Saiyan nodding in determination. I promise, we'll all make it back, Goku replied, with Chi-Chi looking at him for a few moments before nodding, with being Goku confused when she then went over to lock the door and then the window. Chi-Chi, what are you doing? Goku asked, only for Chi-Chi to push him back down onto the bed and straddle him. Simple Goku. Well, I'm sure you'll do everything you can to keep your promise. Consider this extra insurance, and reminder of what you have waiting for you when you get back, especially since I had to go through an entire year without you, said Chi-Chi with a sly look on her face before leaning down and kissing her husband, the action catching Goku off guard for a moment before he began returning the gesture, wrapping his arms around his wife and pulling her close, the Saiyan figuring it wouldn't hurt if he arrived 10, maybe 20 or 30 minutes late. Time skip 6 days. Mom, seriously, I'm fine, Gohan said as Chi-Chi looked him over, having just been teleported back to Earth along with Piccolo, Bulma, Vegeta and the rest of the Namekians, while Goku chose to remain behind to defeat Frieza, even with Namek about to blow up with him still on it. With them all being sad in hand, King Kai informed them that Namek was destroyed and Goku along with it, leaving them no way to revive Goku or Krillin, due to them having died on Namek and wouldn't end up at Earth's check-in station, only for Vegeta to be the one to suggest using the Namekian Dragon Balls to wish them to the check-in station and then wish them back to life, much to the others' happiness that they could revive Goku and Krillin, though Vegeta claimed to only care to know how Goku became a Super Saiyan. Shortly after that, Chi-Chi, Rashi, Yajirobe, Ox King, Oolong and Puar had arrived in a Capsule Corp jet, with the woman immediately running towards her son to look him over. Gohan, you just came back from an alien planet after facing who knows what kind of threats, you probably even nearly died. And what about your studies? You were reading your books, completing the homework I packed. What about, about? Chi-Chi asked rapidly, only to suddenly feel dizzy and nauseous. Mom, are you sure that you shouldn't be the one being asked if they're alright? Questioned Gohan while looking at his mother in worry when she started swaying. I'm fine, sweetheart, just a little said Chi-Chi, only to cover her mouth and run over to some bushes before she started throwing up, making Gohan even more worried as he ran up to his mother. Mom? Dend! Gohan exclaimed before calling out to his Namekian friend, with Dend quickly flying over. Here, let me help, Dend said, having Chi-Chi lie down before putting his hands over her to heal her. I'm fine, really. I must have had something that upset my stomach, Chi-Chi said, assuring them she's fine, only for Den to frown in confusion when he moved his hands over her stomach. I'm not sure, I can sense something inside of your stomach. I think it's alive. It could be some form of parasite, Den said, not sure what it was before seeing the shocked looks on Chi-Chi's and Gohan's faces. And Mom? Gohan said, looking at his mother in surprise, having not expected this when he returned. Are you sure? Chi-Chi asked while putting a hand over her stomach. Not really, human and Saiyan biology is pretty different from Namekian, but whatever the thing is, it looks like it's feeding off the nutrients in your bodies, probably to help it grow or something. I'm not sure if I'd be able to use my healing to get rid of it, replied Dend. No! Don't get rid of it, Chi-Chi said while putting her hands over her stomach protectively, surprising the Namekian at her sudden action before he looked up at Piccolo when he put a hand on his shoulder. It's not a parasite or anything harmful, Dend. You can't tell given how Namekians reproduce. But Chi-Chi's actually pregnant, said Piccolo, much to everyone's shock at hearing this, before Bulma soon grinned brightly and ran up to Chi-Chi. Oh, congratulations, Chi-Chi, Bulma said, happy that she's going to have another baby, with Chi-Chi soon smiling. It looks like you're going to be a big brother soon, Gohan, Chi-Chi said to her son, with Gohan soon smiling in excitement. A big brother, all right, said Gohan, excited at the idea of having a little brother/sister. And another grandchild? Ox King said with wide eyes before falling backwards in a dead faint that he'd be getting another grandchild. Well, that's certainly a surprise. I'm sure that when we wish Goku back, he'll be excited at the chance to know he'll be a father again, said Rashi, happy for his old student and his wife, with them soon contacting King Kai, wanting to tell the rest of their friends on Earth and in Otherworld the good news, while Vegeta leaned against the tree with a surprised look on his face, before looking at Chi-Chi in intrigue at this new development. Another half Saiyan, Vegeta thought, thinking on how there will soon be another Saiyan in the universe, especially with the potential the child will have as a Saiyan/human hybrid. Time skip 2 months. Vegeta stood on top of a tree, looking down at the sun residence with narrowed eyes, watching as Ox King, Dend, Muri, Gohan, as well as Bulma and her parents help Chi-Chi get everything ready for when the baby arrives, with them still needing to wait 3 more months until they could use the Namekian Dragon's balls to bring Goku and Krillin to the check-in station and revive them, then waiting another 4 months to revive the Earthlings that died when he and Nappa attacked. Though the Saiyan Prince's attention had soon shifted to the child now growing in Chi-Chi, a new Saiyan. Hopefully one that has a true Saiyan spirit, unlike Kakarot and his other whelp, thought Vegeta, hoping the child will act like a true Saiyan rather than a human, one that'd be able to help him conquer the universe with Frieza now dead. What do you want, Namekian? Vegeta demanded, while looking behind after sensing Piccolo, seeing the Namekian looking at him with narrowed. I don't even need to read your mind to know what you're thinking, Vegeta, and I'll only say this once, if you try anything with that kid, then Gohan and I will personally revoke the second chance you got from Shenron, said Piccolo, refusing to let Vegeta try anything with the baby, while the Saiyan merely smirked at him. Is that a challenge, Namekian? And do you really think you or Kakarot's whelp stand a chance against me? In case you forgot, you couldn't even stand up against Nappa, let alone me. And while you may have gotten stronger since then, so have I, even more so with my death and revival. So do you truly believe you could stop me from doing whatever I want? Questioned Vegeta, only for Piccolo's expression to not falter once. You want to know something? A year ago I was no different than you. I hated Goku and wanted to kill him so I could take over this planet, like my father before me, yet when I challenged Goku years ago, despite being stronger than him while knowing what he was capable of, I still lost before he even knew he was a Saiyan or became as strong as he is now, even when we worked together against Raditz. I fully intended to resume our struggle until I spent a year training his son to defeat you and your partner, then use his power to help take over the Earth. That's when I began learning just why I couldn't beat Goku, why I never would have been able to, Piccolo said while looking at the Sun residence, with Vegeta looking at him in intrigue. For Goku, fighting is everything. He doesn't fight for revenge, to kill, or anything. He fights merely to test himself and grow stronger, yet at the same time, he's someone you doubt could even hurt a fly. And that's what makes Goku who he is. The only person he seeks to surpass is himself, while having those that he would die to protect and keep safe. That's why I shielded Gohan before. Why I fought Frieza without hesitation. I wasn't fighting for myself. I was fighting to protect someone I care about, just like Gohan will do against you if you try anything against his sibling. And like I'll do again if go after my friends, said Piccolo while looking at Vegeta before turning around and flying away, with the Saiyan Prince watching him leave with a frown. Before Vegeta looked back at the Sun residence, now having a thoughtful expression on his face before he scowled in annoyance, and flew back to the Brief's compound, his temporary residence while on Earth, though he couldn't help but ponder on Piccolo's words, wondering if that's truly where Goku gained his strength from, by having those he would protect. Timeskip 1 month. Piccolo dodged a punch from Gohan before slamming his leg into his student's chest, knocking him through the air, with the half-Saiyan managing to catch himself before flying right towards his mentor, as they began trading blows. I'm actually impressed. You have a fire in you that you didn't have before, even more so, with how Chi-Chi's allowing you to keep training, Piccolo stated, given that ever since returning from Namek, Gohan's actually asked to continue his training, something he didn't expect given he didn't like fighting, only to see a new fire burning in his protege. Mom and I made an agreement, she'll let me train as long as I don't fall behind in my studies, replied Gohan before managing to see an opening and delivered an uppercut to Piccolo's face, knocking the Namekian up into the air before he appeared above Piccolo, and slammed his heel into his back, sending him plummeting towards the ground, with Piccolo being able to stop himself before he could hit the ground, then raising his arm to block the shoulder strike from Gohan. And knowing that I'm going to have a younger sibling, I want to train to be someone they can look up to, as well as someone that can protect them, Gohan said to his father figure and surrogate uncle, wanting to be someone his younger sibling looked up to and knew would keep them safe, with Piccolo smiling slightly at his words. Then you made a good choice, however, said Piccolo before suddenly vanishing and reappearing behind Gohan, slamming his fist into the back of his head and sending him flying through the air before crashing through a plateau. If you want to reach that level, then be prepared since the real training starts now. Hi-ya, Piccolo said before giving out a shout as he powered up, with Gohan flying through the plateau and giving a shout of his own as he powered up, before they charged each other again. Brief's compound. Meanwhile, Bulma was in her lab, working on some new inventions, though the scientist was having trouble concentrating due to Vegeta currently pacing around her lab, the Saiyan having been muttering to himself since he walked in, leaving Bulma unable to concentrate. For the love Kami, what is your problem now? Bulma demanded after finally having enough. The child, woman. The Saiyan child Kakarot's mate is carrying. That and the damn Namekian keep getting in my head. Claiming Kakarot is as strong as he is because he fights to protect you humans, shouted Vegeta, having been unable to focus or think clearly with the news of the Saiyan child Chi-Chi is carrying, and then what Piccolo said to him. Seriously? That's what you're thinking about? Bulma exclaimed in disbelief. Yes. Vegeta retorted, making the Bluenet groan in annoyance. Then before Vegeta could react, Bulma grabbed him by the back of his armor and dragged him over to a chair and pushed him into it. How dare, said Vegeta, only to be silenced when Bulma put a finger in his face. Zip it, Mr. Prince of all Saiyans. I'm talking and you're going to sit and listen, got it? Bulma said, with Vegeta surprisingly falling silent at her words. Okay, now I've known Goku way before anyone else did. We met when he was still a kid, living alone on Mount Posa after his grandpa Gohan died. I was tracking down the Dragon Balls. After learning about them and that they could grant any wish, at first, I tried getting Goku to give me the Dragon Ball. But when that failed we became traveling partners and it was definitely an experience. Goku was also pretty ignorant. Hell, he didn't even know what a girl was when he met me. But he was still a kind-hearted kid, willing to help complete strangers just because he could. It was something you could admire. He didn't know anything about the rest of the world, but when he saw someone in trouble he wouldn't hesitate to help them. It made me glad that I got the chance to meet him and become his friend, as well as getting to see who he's become now, said Bulma while smiling at remembering all the adventures they went on. Even if they got into a lot of trouble and dangerous situations along the way, he also has a way of helping bring out the best in people and putting them on the right path. When we first met Yamcha he was just a bandit in the desert. Tien and Kaiotsu had been enemies from a rival martial arts school when we met them. Now they're some of our closest friends, who were willing to fight against you and Nappa, even if it meant dying. Look at Piccolo. A year ago he was our greatest enemy until you showed up. Now he's training Gohan and is basically a second father to him, Bulma said, with Vegeta crossing his arms with an annoyed look on his face. I fail to see the point of all this, said Vegeta before gritting his teeth when Bulma stomped on his foot. No interruptions. And the point is that Goku doesn't just fight to protect his friends and family. They're also what makes him strong. He may enjoy fighting strong opponents to push himself to grow stronger, but when it comes down to it, Goku knows when to get serious. That's what all of us do. We look out for each other and help when we can, like how Gohan, Krillin and Yajirobe did against you. How Goku helped against the Ginyu Force. And when Piccolo helped by Goku time against Frieza, we don't fight for ourselves, we fight for our friends, our families, and our home, said Bulma, making the Saiyan Prince frown as she went back over to her work. Also if you're just going to pace around and brood, then do it in the atrium and let me work. Bulma said, wanting to be able to finish her work in peace. You dare to order a Saiyan Prince? Vegeta demanded, only for Bulma to look at him with narrowed eyes before marching up to him. Yeah, I dare. Because here in my lab, I'm the damn queen. You wanna stay, then you'll do so quietly or else no dragon alive will fix what I do to you. Is that clear? Retorted Bulma while poking Vegeta in the chest in emphasis, only to be shocked when Vegeta grabbed her hand with a smirk. Really? And what will you do if I don't? Vegeta asked rhetorically, before pushing Bulma to her desk. My, aren't we feisty? Bulma asked as she started to get turned on by how rough Vegeta was being to her. What can I say, woman? We Saiyans just love strong women, Vegeta said with a chuckle before Bulma wrapped her arms around his neck and pulled him into a heated make-out session, as they stated to lose control of themselves from the spike in hormones from their current predicament. First, my name is Bulma, not woman, and luckily for you, I just so happen to like strong men, Bulma said after they broke the kiss, before they engaged in another one. Before they knew it, Bulma's clothes and Vegeta's armor was tossed across the lab as it was filled with the sounds of heated pants, moaning and groaning, as well as the sound of skins slapped together, though despite how much he was enjoying the fling they were having, as well as how it helped him relax and relieve the stress he was feeling from everything that was going on, and what he was told, his prior discussion with Bulma only gave Vegeta more to think about and contemplate. Time skipped 2 months. 2 months had passed, with everyone being shocked after learning that Bulma was now pregnant as well, and with Vegeta's child no less, with her assuring them that it was just a one-night stand, where their hormones just got the better of them, though despite that, she did wish to keep the baby with Vegeta surprisingly being in full agreement. The Namekian Dragon Balls having finally regenerated, allowing everyone to make their first 3 wishes on them, with everyone gathered outside the brief's compound. So, what are the 3 wishes you want granted first? Den asked, given they have a lot of people they want to revive. We want to bring Krillin and my dad to Earth's check-in station and revive both of them. After that, we'll wait until the Dragon Balls are restored to revive Tien, Kaiatsu and Yamcha, replied Gohan while glancing nervously at his mother, who was showing more signs of pregnancy, including the mood swings, something that Gohan hoped his father would be able to help with, as the half-Saiyan was honestly pretty scared of his mother when she's like this, never knowing what could set her off. Den nodded at this before turning towards the Namekian Dragon Balls, holding out his hands to them as the young Namekian began chanting. With the Dragon Balls glowing brightly before shooting up from them was Porunga. I am Porunga, the Dragon of Dreams. State your wishes and I shall grant them, said Porunga, with Den speaking in the Namekian language, asking him to bring Goku's and Krillin's souls to Earth's check-in station with Porunga's eyes glowing as he granted the wish. The one called Krillin has been brought to the check-in station of Earth. However, I cannot bring the one called Goku, Porunga said, much to their confusion and shock. What do you mean you can't? Demanded Chi-Chi glaring up to the dragon, making the others slowly back away from the pregnant woman. Bring my husband to the fucking check-in station, or so help me I'll turn you into a pair dragon skin boots. Chi-Chi shouted, with even Porunga sweating nervously at her anger. I cannot do that, the one called Goku is still alive. To grant your wish would end in his death. Something I cannot do, Porunga revealed, shocking everyone again. Wait, Goku's still alive? Bulma said before smiling that Goku was still alive, along with everyone else that Goku had survived Namek's destruction. Oh well, that's very kind of you. Thank you for not killing Goku, Chi-Chi said, suddenly smiling and happy to know her husband wasn't dead. That's great. Then we can wish Krillin back to life and just wish Dad back here. Then let's start with reviving Krillin first, said Gohan, with Den nodding before looking at Porunga and wishing for Krillin to be revived, with Porunga's eyes glowing before Krillin suddenly appeared in front of everyone. Wah? Krillin said as he looked around in shock, not sure what just happened. Welcome back, Krillin, Gohan said while smiling at his friend along with everyone else. I'm alive again? Whoa, Chi-Chi, you're, said Krillin when he noticed Chi-Chi's expanded stomach, shocked to see she's pregnant. Yes, a lot's happened while you and the others were gone, Krillin, and we were just about to wish Goku back as well, Rashi said, surprising Krillin again that Goku wasn't already here, but is glad he'll be brought back as well, with Den looking up at Porunga and speaking again, wishing for Goku to be brought back to Earth, with the dragon's eyes glowing only for them to suddenly stop. I cannot bring the one called Goku back to Earth, he wishes to return on his own, said Porunga, much to everyone's confusion. What do you, Gohan asked, only to be interrupted by Chi-Chi. What the fuck did you just say? Chi-Chi shouted as her temper fully exploded at hearing Goku was refusing to be brought back. Who here can contact King Kai? Demanded Chi-Chi while glaring at everyone, with them all being too nervous to speak. Why you wanted to talk? King Kai asked nervously, after hearing his name being called. Yes. Get me my husband now, Chi-Chi said, with King Kai not hesitating to reach out to Goku's location and connect to him. Goku! Answer me now, it's an emergency, King Kai said while getting through to his student. Huh? King Kai? Why are you? Goku asked in confusion at suddenly being contacted by King Kai. Goku! Who the hell do you think you are? Refusing to let this stupid dragon bring you home? You think this is some fucking game? Chi-Chi shouted, scaring Goku at hearing how angry she was. Chi-Chi. I swear, it's not anything bad, I just wanted to get home and missile, said Goku, only for Chi-Chi to interrupt him again. I don't give a fuck about what you want to do. What you are going to do is let the dragon bring you home, right now. If you don't, so help me, when you come back I'll chop off your nutsack and hang it on our front door, like one of those lion door knockers rich people have. Do you understand me, son Goku? Yelled Chi-Chi, with all the guys unconsciously covering their crotches in fear, while even the Namekians were terrified at her anger and threat. Wish me back, wish me back, wish me back. Do it quickly, Goku said in terror at Chi-Chi's threat. Yeah, then I think he'll let himself be wished back now. And Dad, don't take what Mom said seriously, she's just going through some mood swings right, 'cause she's pregnant, said Gohan, much to Goku's shock at hearing this. What? You're pregnant, Chi-Chi? Said Goku, not expecting that. Yes, I'm pregnant. And you're trying to get out of being here to see our son being born, Chi-Chi said, having recently learned the gender of their baby. Happy that they'd be having a second son, with Gohan being happy to learn he's having a baby brother. No! No! I wouldn't doubt that, I swear, I just didn't think that would happen. I would have let Porunga bring me back the first time, if I knew. I'm really sorry if it seemed like that, said Goku, his mood now turning serious and somber at the end. Yardrat. While on the planet Yardrat, where Goku had landed after managing to escape Namek in one of the genie's pods, with the Saiyan looked to his teacher Pabara. Pabara is a light blue Yardrat that is usually seen larger than other Yardrats due to his gigantification. Unlike the others of his kind, Pabara has 2 whiskers along with 2 pointed tips at the top of his head, as opposed to the one like the other Yardrats. Sorry Pabara, I guess we need to cut my training short, Goku said, having been learning the Yardrat's spirit control technique, but knew he couldn't stay and finish his training if Chi-Chi's pregnant. It's fine Goku, you have much more important duties back on your planet. Besides, I'm sure we can continue your training remotely through King Kai, replied Pabara, knowing it'd be more important for Goku to be present during the birth of his son than finishing his training. He's right Goku, now go be with your family and worry about training later, King Kai said, with Goku nodding as he felt Porunga summoning him back to Earth, this time letting the dragon do so. Earth, reappearing in front of everyone, with Porunga vanishing at having granted 3 wishes. Everyone smiled happily at seeing that Goku had returned, with Goku looking at Chi-Chi, surprised to see how far along she already was in her pregnancy. Chi-Chi, I'm really sorry if it seemed like I didn't care, I really didn't know. If I did I would have let Porunga bring me back the first time, said Goku, making Chi-Chi smile at her husband. It's fine, what matters is that you're back now, but I'm such a terrible wife, Chi-Chi said before she suddenly started crying at the end. You wanted to come back on your own and I forced you to come back through a stupid wish. Not even caring if you were doing something important. What kind of wife am I to do that to my husband? Cried Chi-Chi as her mood swings kept affecting her. Hey easy, you're not a terrible wife, you're a really great one and an even better mom. And there's nothing more important than being here, right now, said Goku while pull her into a comforting hug. So, it's a boy, huh? You guys think of any names yet? Krillin asked while looking at Gohan. Yeah, we've actually thought of Naruto, since Mom's really been craving ramen with lots of narutomaki on it, and it seemed like a pretty good name, replied Gohan, making the former monk laugh slightly at the choice. That sounds like a name Goku would pick, said Krillin, knowing how much his friend loved food. It wouldn't be surprising if he named one of his kids after a food he liked. Yeah, he probably would, Gohan said in agreement before laughing along with the others. Hey, I'm not that bad, Goku said with a frown. Yes, you are, stated Bulma with a deadpan expression, getting Goku's attention with him noticing that she was pregnant as well, much to his shock. Well, you too, Bulma? What happened when I was gone and does Yamcha know about this? Goku asked, with Bulma gaining a solemn smile. Yeah, ended up having a fling with Vegeta after a moment where we lost control of ourselves. And Yamcha does know, I told him through King Kai. Not long after I learned that I was pregnant. While he was understanding, it led to us deciding to end things between us due to how awkward it would be for us to still be together after what happened, Bulma said, and while it was hard, the blow was somewhat softened with how their relationship was a rather shaky one with how they were constantly on and off. Especially when looking back at it, their relationship was more out of convenience and physical attraction. With Bulma having lost out on wishing for the perfect boyfriend or a lifetime supply of strawberries with the Dragon Balls, while she was the only girl that Yamcha could talk to without freezing up and freaking out, not really a basis for a long-lasting and healthy relationship. Still, I'm sorry to hear that given how close the two of you were when you were together, Goku stated, knowing how rocky their relationship could be. They were rather close when they were able to move past their problems. Don't be Goku, deep down, me and Bulma knew that things probably wouldn't work out between us in the end. Besides, today is supposed to be a happy one, so don't let it be ruined on our account, Yamcha said through King Kai, with Bulma nodding in agreement. With that, everyone traded their farewells before taking off and going their separate ways. 5 months. After wishing back Goku and Krillin, everyone waited another 4 months before they could wish back Tien, Kaiatsu, and Yamcha, with Goku and Krillin having also started helping make preparations for when the baby arrives, with Dend having also offered to help for when Chi-Chi's due date arrived. Given his healing abilities would help make things a lot easier, with young Namekian having also been taught what he'd need to do in delivering children when the time arrived, with the date arriving a month after Tien, Kaiatsu, and Yamcha were brought back, with Chi-Chi's due date arriving in October, something that somewhat worried everyone with how it took 10 months, rather than the usual 9, leading Chi-Chi to be brought to the Brief's compound after her water broke, with everyone heading over there after learning the news, taking her to the infirmary, where Dend, Dr. Briefs and Panchi were helping her through the birthing process. Along with Goku, Gohan and Ox King being present, Bulma would have helped as well, but she was currently 7 months into her own pregnancy, with it being discovered that she'll be having a girl, and needed to take things easy, with the birth going much smoother than expected, thanks to Den's healing abilities, which Goku was also thankful for after Chi-Chi was crushing his hand. Wow, he's really tiny, just like Gohan was, Goku said while looking at his newborn son in Chi-Chi's arms, with everyone else having been brought in once the birthing had ended. Yeah, he is small, said Gohan, not expecting him to be this small. Well, I think he's adorable, especially with these cute little birthmarks. You look like a cute little fox, Naruto, Chi-Chi cooed while looking at her baby, seeing he had spiky black hair and 3 unique whisker marks on his cheeks, along with having a tail sticking out of his tailbone. Look at the little guy. I bet he'll be big and strong just like his parents and his grandpa, Ox King said while smiling at his second grandson, though was a little disappointed he didn't get to suggest any names for him. Congrats, Goku, Krillin said while smiling at his friend, happy for him and his family. He's a cute little guy, ain't he? Hey there, kiddo, I'm a real close friend of your dad's, said Yamcha while leaning in and grinning at Naruto, causing the sleeping baby's eyes to open, revealing their blue color, looking straight at the former bandit. Yamcha, I don't think that's a good Rashi said to his student, not sure he should be that close to the baby, before Yamcha cried out as his head was thrown back. He just headbutted me, Yamcha said, having not expected the sudden attack, with everyone looking at Naruto in surprise while the newborn giggled happily at what he just did. I guess he's already taking after his Saiyan side, stated Tien with a small smirk, seeing the kid is going to grow up to be a tough one if he can already do that. The others nodding in agreement, while Chi-Chi, Goku, Gohan and Ox King smiled at meeting the newest member of their family, with all of them hoping that nothing crazy will happen that could end ruining their new peace. 3 people were whimpering in fear as they were surrounded by what they could only guess were demons, who suddenly showed up and attacked their town, killing everyone, with the demons laughing the entire time, enjoying the fear and despair coming from the humans. Please stay away from us. We didn't do anything, one of the people begged. We never said you did, said one of the demons with a smirk, none of them needing a reason to attack or kill humans before they immediately cut the humans down without hesitation. The 4 demons then stepped aside and bowed to their leader, Garlic Jr. Garlic Jr. is a small, turquoise alien with pointy ears and green spots above his head. He wears a burly robe with a white hood and a button under his cloak. Underneath his robe, he is dressed in a black cassock with a gold-colored castle emblem on a red background with a light blue line on the side of the background. Underneath the cassock, he wears black pants and blue shoes. In the darkness they have taken wing, never to return again, Garlic Jr. said while looking up at the ruins of what was once his castle, angered at the sight of it, and that humans had settled around it in his absence. This only reminding Garlic Jr. of his defeat at the hands of Goku, Piccolo, and the former's brat of a son Gohan, having been so close to finally defeating Kami after wishing for immortality with the Dragon Balls, then take his place as guardian so he could rule the earth, only for his plans to be ruined when he was thrown into the dark, endless abyss of the Dead Zone, where his immortality became a curse, as he was unable to die, simply being stuck floating in the empty abyss for years. It was only due to the Makio star, the source of his power, drawing closer to Earth that he was able to escape the Dead Zone, something Garlic Jr. knew was incredibly lucky. Given the Makio star only appeared every 5,000 years, if he'd been trapped after it had already passed by, then he's sure he would have eventually gone insane and been unable to even think of escaping. After escaping, he'd also gained some new followers in the form of the Spice Boys, members of the demon clan on the Makio star that consist of the leader spice, vinegar, mustard and salt. Now he could get his revenge for his imprisonment, and finally take his place as guardian. And this time he had a plan to ensure no one would be able to stop him. And how kind of Cammy to keep the tool of my victory safe on the lookout. Let's go! Garlic Jr. said as he and the Spice Boys teleported away to the lookout. The lookout. Meanwhile on the lookout, Mr. Popo was watering the flowers while Cammy stood close to the edge overlooking the earth with a contemplative frown on his face. Having felt that something has begun changing ever since Goku's and Chi-Chi's second son, Naruto, had been born, along with another half Saiyan soon to be born in the form of Vegeta's and Bulma's daughter. I've been feeling something strange since then, as if there's been a shift in the world, if not the universe as a whole. I wonder, just what new developments will thing bring? Thought Cammy, given everything that happened when Goku first went out into the world as a child, then when the Saiyans first arrived, now he feels something greater may be coming. The Guardian could only hope that the Z fighters will be capable of handling any future threats that may, and most likely will, show up. Though Cammy was soon pulled from his thoughts as his eyes widened when he suddenly sensed 4 signatures appear on the lookout. Then before either he or Mr. Popo could react, the Spice Boys appeared and began destroying the lookout, much to their shock. Mr. Popo! Quickly, get out of here and alert the other, Cammy said, rushing at the Spice Boys to hold them off long enough for Mr. Popo to escape. Why yes, Cammy, said Mr. Popo said before summoning his magic carpet and was about to fly away to tell the Z fighters they were under attack. And where do you think you're going? Vinegar said as he and Mustard appeared in front of Popo, stopping him. The fun's just beginning, added Mustard before the 2 demons shot their energy web at the genie, ensnaring and paralyzing him. I can't move, Popo said, finding that his entire body was paralyzed, with this distracting Cammy long enough for Spice and Salt to trap him in their energy web as well. My, you certainly have gotten slow in your old age, Cammy, stated Garlic Jr., as he stepped out from inside the lookout, making Cammy's and Popo's eyes widen at seeing him. And no, that's impossible, you were trapped within the dead zone, Cammy said, not believing Garlic Jr. had managed to escape. Yes, I was. But thanks to the arrival of the Makio star, I have returned. Now, time for you to experience what it's like to be trapped, Garlic Jr. said before throwing his hands out in front of him, firing off rings of energy at Cammy and Popo, causing them both to shrink down until they were miniature, with Garlic Jr. then summoning the 2 over to him, while pulling out 2 glass jars, which Cammy and Popo flew inside before they were sealed shut. Ah, look at you both, poor Mr. Popo and Cammy, helpless and trapped at my mercy, but don't worry, I won't kill you 2, not yet anyway. First I want you to witness my triumph as I become this world's new guardian and ruler. But first I'm taking back something else you stole, my father's black water mist, said Garlic Jr., causing Cammy's eyes to widen at hearing this. No! You can't unleash the black water mist. You'll turn everyone on Earth into demons, Cammy shouted, knowing that could destroy the Earth. Even worse, what would happen if it affected Goku and Vegeta with the power they both had? I know! Be honored, Cammy, you'll get a front row seat to watching this become a world of demons, Garlic Jr. said with a mad grin before he and the Spice Boys entered the lookout to locate the black water mist. Soon finding it in a room filled with pots and vases, Garlic Jr., mentally laughing at how Cammy didn't even try to hide it as he grabbed the black vase, blasting the top with his magic. Garlic Jr. grinned as it opened up and black mist began pouring out of the vase. When people breathe this mist, any evil tendencies that they're resisting take control of their character. They become mad with the desire for wealth and material pleasure to the point of wanting to kill each other for it. And they'll all be under my total control, Garlic Jr. declared, laughing wickedly while knowing he'll soon have everyone on Earth under his control. With Goku and Gohan back on Earth, Goku and Gohan were currently catching some fish for dinner, the father-son duo also trying to see which of them could catch more fish than the other. Ha 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 ha. I'm pretty sure I've already beaten you, Dad, Gohan said while looking at his pile of fish, seeing he's gotten a lot more than his father, only to hear Goku come out of the water, making him turn around before his eyes widened. I don't know, Gohan. I think I've won this round, said Goku with a large grin while carrying a large amount of fish which he threw into his pile, making it nearly double the size of Gohan's own, making the half Saiyan lower his head. Oh man, I really thought I had you, said Gohan, making Goku chuckle and pat him on the head. Don't worry, I've just had more experience in catching fish. I'm sure you'll get better, especially with how you're building up your speed and strength during training, Goku said, making Gohan smile and nod before both of them heard footsteps approaching and saw Krillin, who was wearing a white suit with a matching fedora and a red tie. Yo! How's it going, guys? Krillin said with a smirk on his face. Krillin, great to see you again, said Gohan while smiling at his friend and training partner. Yeah, it's been a while, but what's with the outfit? Goku asked, confused at his friend's clothes, given he usually wore his turtle school GI. You like it? And that's not all that's new, Krillin said before looking to a red sports car, where a beautiful blue-haired woman stepped out with Goku and Gohan almost mistaking her for Bulma from her hair color and style. Krillin, are these your friends you told me about? The woman asked while looking at the two Saiyans, with Krillin nodding and smiling at the woman. Yep, these are them, Goku, Gohan. I'd like you to meet my G-girlfriend Marin. Marin, these are my friends Goku and his son Gohan, introduced Krillin, still feeling a little shy and insecure about actually calling Marin his girlfriend. But after seeing how happy Goku and Chi-Chi were when Naruto was born, then the fact Bulma was having a daughter with Vegeta of all people, Krillin wanted to try getting a girlfriend himself, which meant he also had to acknowledge that Marin as his girlfriend rather than saying she's just a friend. Wow, good for you, buddy. Nice to meet you, Marin, Goku said, happy for his friend. He's the one from space, right, Krillin, said Marin while looking at the former monk, having heard some of the adventures he's went on and about his friends. Yeah, that's right, Krillin replied before looking at his friends. Anyway, we also stopped by to see if you wanted to come with us to a party at Kame House. Everyone's gonna be there, except Bulma for obvious reasons, said Krillin, knowing Bulma's been staying at Capsule Corp and getting things ready for her own baby. I'm not sure if we'd be able to come. We'd have to ask Chi-Chi first, Goku replied since while Chi-Chi started lightening up on them in regard to training, she started getting stricter again when it came to Naruto. Yeah, Mom kind of needs all the help she can get with Naruto, added Gohan as even only being a few months old, Naruto was proving to really be a wild child and taking after his Saiyan side, something that resulted in him getting into a lot of trouble. Oh, well, that's fine, we'll see you there if you can make it, Krillin said, nodding in understanding before he and Marin took their leave, while Goku and Gohan got dressed before collecting the fish they caught before flying home. Arriving back home, Goku and Gohan saw Chi-Chi running around and seemed to be looking for something. Hey Mom, we're back and we got lots of fish, Gohan said to his mother. We also ran into Krillin, who's got himself a girlfriend, though he also invited me and Gohan to party over at Kame House. Would it be alright if we went? Asked Goku. Absolutely not. Neither of you have time to waste going to some party. Now help me find Naruto, said Chi-Chi while trying to find where her second son could have gone off to, with her words making both Saiyans worried. What happened to him? Gohan asked, worried about where his brother could have gone. I looked away for just a second, but when I looked back he was gone. I already searched the entire house but he wasn't inside, so he must have somehow been able to get outside. Now he could have ended up who knows where, Chi-Chi said, worried for where Naruto could be right now, while Goku and Gohan became more worried hearing this. Don't worry, we'll find him. Me and Gohan can fly around since he couldn't have gotten that far just by crawling away, said Goku, with Gohan nodding in agreement before the two flew up into the air to try and find where Naruto could have gone off to, with Vegeta. Meanwhile at Capsule Corp, Vegeta was training in a recreated version of the spaceship Goku arrived on Namek in, the Saiyan Prince having wanted to use it after learning how Goku trained under increased gravity in it, Vegeta having already set it to much higher gravity to grow stronger much faster, especially after he talked with Goku about how he became a Super Saiyan. Flashback. Kakarot, Vegeta said, getting Goku's attention from his training. Huh? Oh hey Vegeta, did you need something? Said Goku with a friendly smile, though still regarded the other Saiyan warily as while he wasn't really an enemy anymore, that also didn't mean he was really on their side either. Yes, tell me how you became a Super Saiyan? What kind of training could you have completed to let you achieve such power? Demanded Vegeta while narrowing his eyes at Goku. How I became Super Saiyan? Well, I did train at 100 times normal gravity on my way to Namek, so that maybe helped. But what really made me transform was when Frieza killed Krillin. That just made me mad, like really mad. I didn't realize it at the time, But during my time on Yardat I also realized that the reason I transformed was because it came from a need, Goku said, making Vegeta frown in annoyance. I need? Vegeta said, with the other Saiyan nodding in response. Yeah, the power comes in response to a need, not a desire. When I first heard about Frieza, all I wanted was to try fighting him after hearing how powerful he was. But after he killed Krillin, that one became a need. I didn't just want to fight Frieza, I needed to beat him. I needed to make him pay all the lives he ruined and the people he killed. I needed to do everything I could to take him down, then I just transformed, explained Goku. A need? That's all you needed to become a Super Saiyan, a need? Well, I needed to kill Frieza as well. I needed to show him that I was far stronger than he could ever hope to become. I needed to avenge my planet and race. Vegeta said, getting angry since he had grown much stronger since he first went to Earth and Namek while having a lot of needs to fulfill. Yet he never turned into a Super Saiyan. That's not a need, Vegeta, those are things you want and desire. A need is when that's all you can focus on at the moment. Nothing else matters except that you'd do anything to see it was fulfilled, while not caring what you had to do or the consequences, simply being driven by a single primal instinct to achieve your goal, Goku said, which only made Vegeta scowl in annoyance before flying off to return to his training. End flashback. Dodging some blasts from the drones, Vegeta blasted them before flaring his power and giving a loud shout, pushing his power beyond anything he has before, to try and transform into a Super Saiyan. I need to become a Super Saiyan. I need to show everyone I am the strongest in the universe. I need to prove I am the most powerful Saiyan. I need to surpass Kakarot. I need it, I need it, I need it, I need it. Vegeta thought while gritting his teeth as he pushed himself even further. Vegeta shouted loudly as his ki flared around him, until he was forced to stop before he ended up destroying the ship. Looking at himself, Vegeta scowled in annoyance when he saw that his ki hadn't even flickered to gold, nor had he felt himself grow more powerful. Damn it! Vegeta cursed while punching the wall and leaving a large dent, not believing he still can't turn into a Super Saiyan, even with all the training he's been doing the past few months. Exiting the ship, Vegeta returned to the main building and went to the bathroom to take a shower, wondering what he was doing wrong, if he needed to further increase his training to transform. Once he was done in the shower, the Saiyan got out before choosing to put on regular street clothes as opposed to his armor, needing time to clear his head and think more on how he can become a Super Saiyan. Though on his way out, Vegeta stopped when he saw Bulma coming towards him, the brunette also taking notice of the Saiyan Prince. And look who finally decided to come outside. Here, I thought you were planning to move into the ship, Bulma said with a deadpan expression, given how much time he spends in there. I do come out. It's not my fault if you never seem to notice, woman, retorted Vegeta with a smirk, knowing she got annoyed at being called that, while Bulma's eye twitched. You know it'd be smart to be nice to the person that built that ship, and can just as easily deactivate the gravity chamber, said Bulma with her own smirk as Vegeta's smirk vanished. You wouldn't, Vegeta said while narrowing his eyes at her. Wouldn't I? I've studied the ship's blueprints and know how everything works. I could have a remote built in just a few hours to manually shut off the gravity chamber whenever I want, Bulma said confidently, making the Saiyan scowl in annoyance before smirking and crossing his arms. Well, it's good to know my child's Saiyan blood is influencing you positively, woman, stated Vegeta, only for Bulma to scoff. Yeah, right. If anything, she's simply going to be taking after her awesome mom. Isn't that right, Bulla? Bulma said while rubbing her stomach affectionately. What? Bulla? Vegeta exclaimed, having not heard anything about a name already being decided. Yep, that's the name I decided on. A cute name for a cute girl, replied Bulma while smiling at her daughter's name. Absolutely not. She will have a traditional Saiyan name, befitting of a Saiyan princess. Her name will be Echelot, said Vegeta with a smirk, knowing it'll be the perfect name for his daughter. You want to name our daughter after an onion? Bulma demanded, suddenly getting extremely angry, making Vegeta look at her warily upon seeing her mood swings were acting up. She is not being named after some vegetable, fruit, or anything else. Her name is going to Bulla. You got that, Spiky? Said Bulma while glaring darkly at Vegeta. She is my child and I have the right to decide her name. Vegeta retorted stubbornly, wanting his first child to be given a proper Saiyan name. And I'm the one who's been carrying her the past 7 months, and then have to push her out. And if you cared about her name, maybe you should have come out when I was thinking of different names for her. But you didn't. So I got to choose Bulla, and that's final. You don't like it too bad, Bulma said, with the Saiyan scowling. Fine. Her name can be Bulla, Vegeta muttered reluctantly, seeing it'd be pointless to try arguing with her while she's like this, with Bulma immediately smiling brightly. Great. I knew you'd come around to the name, it'll be perfect for her, Bulma said before suddenly glaring daggers at Vegeta. And how is your training going anyway? Did you break the ship again? Questioned Bulma. No, I didn't break the ship, it's still in perfectly working order. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to clear my head, Vegeta said before walking past Bulma to go fly around the city. Okay, though one more thing, if it's fine with you, then Echelot can be Bulla's middle name, said Bulma since she was Vegeta's daughter as well, making the Saiyan pause for a moment. That's acceptable, replied Vegeta before quickly leaving and flying off, with Bulma smiling before looking at her stomach. Your daddy can be a serious grouch, Bulma said before going back to what she was doing. While with Vegeta, after exiting Capsule Corp and taking off into the air, he felt some satisfaction that his daughter will still have a Saiyan name of her own. Before his mind turned to the other new half-Saiyan. If the boy has the same potential as Kakarot and his brother, then in the future he may also become a Super Saiyan, perhaps even stronger than Kakarot with how powerful the other half-breed is, thought Vegeta, having seen several times how powerful Goku and Gohan are, so he knew that Naruto also had plenty of potential while possibly being able to surpass both his father and brother. Vegeta then thought about his conversations with Piccolo and Bulma, how Goku is strong by having those he died to protect and that they're all strong by helping each other. The Saiyan Prince still having his doubts that any of that was true. Even if by some chance it is, my daughter won't need such foolish ideals, she'll be far stronger than any of them will realize. With my power and training combined her mother's mind, she'll show everyone the true power of a Saiyan, thought Vegeta with a smirk while knowing that Bulla will be incredibly powerful and intelligent with who her parents are, with potentially only Naruto being able to give her a proper challenge. Though the Saiyan then frowned at where his mind was going and quickly shook his head, not liking that he seemed to be going soft since he came to this planet, only to suddenly be pulled from his thoughts at the sudden sound of a baby laughing, before spotting Naruto flying through the air while being chased by a pterosaur. The young infant unaware of the danger and simply thinking it was playing with him, even as the dinosaur kept trying to bite at him. How fortunate, something to hit, Vegeta stated with a smirk before he suddenly blitzed the pterosaur, sending the dinosaur flying away with a kick, as he then grabbed Naruto and flew down to the forest below. Where is that idiot Kakarot and the other boy? Vegeta said while looking around for Goku or Gohan, only to not see or sense them anywhere, before soon realizing just why that is. Given how either of them could be considered average Saiyans, they likely didn't know that Saiyan children are capable of flight as infants, making the Saiyan Prince shake his head before suddenly feeling something biting his hand, seeing that Naruto somehow managed to escape his grasp and was now biting his fingers, something that Vegeta would normally be angry at, but instead, he merely smirked in amusement while lifting his arm up, making Naruto look at him for a moment before returning to trying to bite his fingers off. At least you have a true Saiyan spirit, unlike your father and brother, Vegeta said, glad to see that Naruto had a Saiyan's natural instinct to fight and attack, only to catch sight of something moving in the air. Looking up, Vegeta narrowed his eyes when he saw a large amount of black mist moving through the air, unable to tell what it was, but knew whatever it is, it wasn't good, making him quickly grab Naruto and cover his mouth while holding his breath, doubting it'd be good if either of them breathed in the mist, before taking off back to Capsule Corp. Quickly arriving and landing in front of the main building, Vegeta ran inside, getting the attention of the receptionist. You! Tell everyone to shut this building down now. There's a black mist in the air and it's coming here right now, Vegeta said quickly, startling the receptionist before she quickly nodded. Right away, replied the receptionist before pressed a button under the counter, activating the security system, causing all the windows and doors to be sealed shut before making an announcement over the intercom, telling everyone to remain inside and head for the designated shelters, along with putting the air vents on full power to remove any impurities in the air. With this also getting the attention of Bulma and her parents as they came running down to the reception area. Vegeta, what's going on? And why do you have Naruto with you? Bulma asked upon seeing that Vegeta was holding Naruto. The boy likely flew away without Kakarot or the rest of his family noticing, none of them being aware Saiyan children can instinctively fly as infants. I found him before he could get eaten by a flying reptile, only to see some black mist in the air, something I doubt would be good if we breathed it in, said Vegeta, surprising them at hearing this. A black mist? Well, let's see what it's doing, Dr. Brief said before turning on a TV and going to the news to find out what effect this black mist was having on everyone, only to be shocked at seeing a broadcast of people attacking each other, breaking into stores to steal things and money, everyone acting like they've gone completely insane. Oh my, Panchi said in shock, something the others had to agree with, not knowing what else to say at the sight, with Goku and Gohan. Meanwhile, Goku and Gohan were flying through the air, still trying to search for where Naruto could have gotten to, before both of them also took notice of the black mist in the air. Dad, what's that? Gohan asked, with Goku frowning at the mist, sensing something strange about it. I'm not sure, but whatever it is, we better not get near it, down there, Goku said while looking around before spotting a river they could dive into. Changing direction, Goku and Gohan dived into the river, remaining underwater while looking up as the black mist spread out more and more, the two exchanging a look, seeing that whatever the stuff was, it definitely wasn't anything good with how much of it there was. Waiting several moments until the mist passed, the Saiyans flew out of the water, panting slightly from how long they held their breath before looking around to see if there was more of the black mist. I don't know what that stuff was, but whatever it is, I don't think it's good for anyone who breathes it in, stated Goku, with Gohan nodding in agreement. Yeah, we should, Gohan said, only to suddenly tense when he sensed something coming from Kame House, with Goku sensing the same thing before their eyes widened upon realizing that Krillin and Marin were in danger. Come on, Goku said as he took off flying straight towards Kame House, with Gohan taking off immediately after and following his father. The two soon arriving at Kame House, where they were greeted to the shocking sight of Krillin and Marin being attacked by Yamcha, Master Roshi, Oolong, Puar, and the Spice Boys. Krillin, Marin! Shouted Gohan before flying down and slamming his foot into Salt's head while firing a ki blast at Spice, with Goku rushing Vinegar and Mustard before appearing between the two demons and blasting both of them. Goku, Gohan! Man, are we glad you guys are here and not infected, like everyone else, Krillin said while kicking Roshi away when he started getting too close, not wanting to really hurt any of them. Infected? You mean that black mist? Goku said as he and Gohan landed beside Krillin and Marin, knocking their infected friends away. Yeah, me and Marin managed to avoid getting infected by being underwater. Then when we got back to the surface, everyone was like this and started attacking us before those guys showed up and seemed to be the ones responsible. And to keep things short, they call themselves the Spice Boys and their work for Garlic Jr., who's back from the dead zone. He's infected everyone on the planet with something called the Black Water Mist, and apparently the only way to cure everyone is with the sacred water on the lookout, where Garlic Jr. is right now, explained Krillin, having heard everything from the Spice Boys, none of them really feeling the need to hide their plan, given the belief they'd likely be infected soon as well. That's right, human, and soon enough you'll all be joining your little friends as Garlic Jr.'s slaves, said Spice with a smirk on his face. Not gonna happen. Gohan, you take those two, I'll take the big guys. Krillin, can you handle the others? Goku said, with Gohan and Krillin nodding, while the half-Saiyan rushed Spice and Salt. I'll do my best, just hurry, Goku. Krillin replied, with the Saiyan nodding before flying towards Vinegar and Mustard. We have you now, Saiyan! Shouted Mustard as he and Vinegar shot their energy web at Goku, only to be surprised when Goku vanished in a burst of speed. Reappearing behind the two demons, Goku slammed his elbow down on Mustard's head before grabbing him in a headlock, spinning around the demon to smash his feet into Vinegar's chest, followed by throwing Mustard at him. Masenko, HA! Gohan shouted, firing a Masenko at Spice and Salt. Surprise blast! Said Salt, shooting a red energy beam that collided against Gohan's attack, while Spice rushed towards Gohan as his hair grew very long and went to wrap around the half-Saiyan, only for the two to be surprised when Gohan managed to forcefully redirect the colliding attacks right into Spice, making the demon cry out at the attacks hitting him, with Gohan using the opening to charge Salt and deliver a spin kick to his head, sending him flying through the air. Looking back at Krillin and Marin, the two Saiyans knew they needed to get them out of here quickly, along with getting to the lookout where they can deal with Garlic Jr. and save everyone, before they were forced to get out of the way as the Spice Boys rushed them again. Luckily, though, help soon arrived as Goku, Gohan, and Krillin sensed Piccolo quickly approaching their position, soon arriving above the Spice Boys. Explosive Demon Wave! Piccolo shouted, firing a ki blast at the Spice Boys, blowing them away before he charged forward and landed on the island, stretching out his arm to knock away all the infected. Piccolo! Gohan said, happy to see Piccolo hadn't been infected as well. There's no time to waste. All of you get the lookout now, I'll hold them off, said Piccolo with Goku, Gohan and Krillin all nodding, with the former monk picking up his girlfriend before they quickly made their way towards the lookout, the trio soon arriving at Korin's tower, where they were greeted by Yajirobe and Korin. Goku, Gohan, Krillin. Good to see you three haven't been infected like the rest of the world, Korin said, relieved that they're safe. Yeah, Piccolo's alright too, but right now he's buying us some time to deal with Garlic Jr. and fix this, replied Goku, with Krillin setting Marin down before looking at Korin and Yajirobe. Can you guys look after Marin until we get back? Krillin asked, not wanting her to get hurt by being on the lookout. We'll make sure she's safe, you guys just go make sure Garlic Jr. doesn't do anything else to the world, Yajirobe said, making Krillin nod in thanks. Thanks guys, we'll be back soon Marin, so don't worry, everything's going to be fine, Krillin said, with Marin nodding with a smile. Okay, stay safe Krillin, said Marin while kissing him in the cheek before he, Goku and Gohan flew up to the lookout, the three being greeted with Garlic Jr. waiting for them, while holding the glass jars containing Kami and Popo. Ah, so nice of you to join me Goku, his little brat, and the annoying bald one, Garlic Jr. said with a smirk, pleased at the chance to personally get his revenge. We already beat you last time Garlic Jr., and now we're much stronger than before. Let Kami and Mr. Popo go now, then stop what you're doing, Goku said as he, Gohan, and Krillin got into their stances, while the immortal merely chuckled lowly. Oh, you seem to misunderstand the situation here Goku. You're not the only one that grew stronger. I have as well thanks to the Makio star drawing out my dormant power, with everyone now under my control, including your Namekian friend, now, said Garlic Jr., as the Spice Boys appeared, with the trio being shocked to see they were also holding a now infected Piccolo who was snarling and growling. Here's a choice for you three now, either die by my hand or die at your rabid friend's hand, Garlic Jr. said with a wicked smirk while Goku, Gohan and Krillin scowled, none of them sure what to do next, after seeing the effect the black mist was having on anyone who breathed it in, before then hearing the infected people outside attacking the barrier around Capsule Corp, trying to break in, leading Vegeta to guide the Brief family and Naruto to a shelter in the compound before the infected could get inside, with them soon reaching the shelter, where the Saiyan Prince ushers them inside. All of you stay here. I'll deal with those trying to break in, Vegeta said while handing Naruto to Bulma to look after the half-Saiyan. I can help. I have some stuff in my lab I can use to make something to restrain the infected people, said Bulma, not wanting to just stay locked in a room, especially since her friends could be infected as well, only for Vegeta to shake his head. Absolutely not. And don't even think of trying to leave this room either. You'll stay here and make sure nothing happens to our daughter, Vegeta retorted, not wanting Bulma to try doing anything that could end in Bullet getting hurt, surprising the Bluenet slightly at his concern before nodding. Fine, I'll stay here, but you better be careful, Bulma said, with Vegeta merely nodding before closing the door and went to deal with the infected humans. Rushing back to the entrance, Vegeta saw some of the infected humans had managed to get through the barrier around the compound and broke into the building. Not wasting a moment, Vegeta swung his hand through the air at them, unleashing a ki wave that obliterated all of them before they could take another step, with the Saiyan Prince then sending a blast at the entrance, causing it to collapse and block the doors, keeping out any more of the infected. Seeing they wouldn't be able to get in through the front, Vegeta flew outside and saw more infected people trying to break in through the other entrances and even the windows they could reach. Vanishing in a burst of speed, Vegeta began taking down the other infected humans before sending them flying into the air and out of the compound or vaporizing them with ki blasts. With them soon taking notice of the Saiyan and were trying to reach him, gathering up into a large group beneath Vegeta, smirking at the sight. Vegeta flew straight down while crushing several of the infected beneath him before giving a loud shout and unleashing a burst of ki from his body. The blast incinerating nearly all of the infected humans around him, while those that remained began backing off, their baser instinct telling them they were against a superior opponent. I've been wiping out entire planets since I was a child, most of them inhabited by beings far stronger than you humans. The only thing you are, is practice, Vegeta stated with a smirking as he raised his hand to blast them again, with the infected growling and snarling before they charged at the Saiyan again. But before they could reach him and before Vegeta could vaporize them, they were incapacitated and restrained by several Namekian warriors, with Vegeta frowning at the sight and lowered his hand. Before looking at Dende and Muri when they arrived, the two Namekians looking around at those he'd already killed. You couldn't try to restrain them? Did you really have to kill these people when they aren't in control of themselves? Den said with a frown at seeing how many people died, only for the Saiyan to scoff and cross his arms. If you have a way to cure them, then by all means be my guest, retorted Vegeta while motioning to the infected humans that are being bound and restrained, making Muri and Den sigh. Seeing that despite showing signs of changing, it hasn't curbed his ruthlessness and bloodthirstiness, making them glad they arrived when they did. Then perhaps you'd have a better time going after the source of that mist that caused this. From what we could sense, it seems to be coming from the location known as the Lookout, where the Earth's guardian is. Though we aren't sure who is responsible, it may be best if you deal with them while we restrain these people, given our physiology makes us immune to the mist, Muri said, with Vegeta nodding since it wouldn't matter how many he took out if whoever caused this wasn't stopped. Fine, I'll deal with them, but do be aware that the woman and her family, along with Kakarot's second offspring, are inside in a sealed room, and if anything happens to them, I'll kill you all then wish you back to life just so I can kill you again, threatened Vegeta before taking off towards the Lookout, unaware of the smile his words got from Dende and Muri, even if the Saiyan himself wasn't aware of what he just said or the meaning they held. Before the two went to assist the other Namekians in finding and restraining all those infected by the mist, the Lookout. Meanwhile, up on the Lookout, Goku, Gohan and Krillin were going against the Spice Boys and the infected Piccolo. Piccolo! Come on, snap out of it! Goku said while holding Piccolo back from trying to bite him, before slamming his foot into the Namekian's chest, sending him crashing down into the Lookout. Before Goku then had to duck under a punch from Vinegar along with blocking a kick from Mustard, the Saiyan giving a shout as he released a ki blast from his body, knocking them away, with him then vanishing in a burst of speed, appearing behind Mustard and spin-kicking him away, repeating the attack on Vinegar, sending them both crashing into each other. Goku then rushed both of the Namekians, throwing his leg out and kicking Mustard in the head before slamming his fist into Vinegar's face, with him then getting between the two and crossed his arms before throwing them out. Spirit shot, said Goku, unleashing a powerful force that threw them both through the air, with the Saiyan then charging up two ki spheres. Twin Kameha, Meha! Goku shouted while firing both spheres at Vinegar and Mustard, the two not having time to dodge before the attack slammed into them and exploded, though the two managed to fly out of the explosions, being able to survive, but were heavily injured as the both of them glared at Goku before charging him, while Gohan and Krillin were dealing with Salt and Spice, the half-Saiyan blocking a punch from Spice, gritting his teeth from the power behind the punch, though took the chance to fire a ki blast at him, only to be surprised when Spice managed to avoid the attack and get behind him, with Gohan suddenly finding himself restrained by Spice's hair. Surprise blast, said Salt, holding his hands out with his fingers stretched out before firing a red ki blast at Gohan. Kamehameha! Krillin shouted while firing a Kamehameha at the ki blast before it could hit Gohan, causing both attacks to explode, with Krillin then bending the Kamehameha, causing it to suddenly curve around and strike Spice in the back, something he hadn't been expecting, allowing Gohan to break free from his hair before taking the chance to deliver a kick to Spice's head, knocking him away before raising his hands above his head. Masenko, HA! Said Gohan while firing a ki blast at Spice that sent him flying through the air, with the Namekian crying out at the point-blank blast, this giving Gohan and Krillin time to regroup before rushing Salt and double-teaming him, with the Namekian having no chance to get away or try attacking, only for them to be forced back when Piccolo rushed them, with neither of the two wanting to risk getting infected as well. This led to the two splitting up when Salt and Piccolo rushed them, with the infected Namekian going after Gohan. Sorry Piccolo, Gohan said before quickly diving under Piccolo once he was close enough and tried grabbing the half Saiyan. With Gohan then flying right back up, slamming his knee into Piccolo's chin, knocking his back as he then began throwing a barrage of punches and kicks at Piccolo, before ending it by flipping and smashing his heel into the Namekian's back, sending him plummeting back down to the lookout, with Gohan then held his hands up like he was about to fire a Masenko, but kept charging it until a key ball was formed. Masenden, said Gohan before throwing it right at Piccolo when he was close enough, the Namekian not having time to dodge as the attack slammed into him, sending him crashing into the lookout as the sphere exploded around him. Back with Krillin, the former monk was dodging Salt's attacks before he moved back and fired a key blast at Salt when he went to pursue him, with the sudden blast forcing the Mach-N to retreat and get out of the way, giving Krillin time to put some distance between them, the martial artist immediately flying up into the sky until he was in front of the sun, while seeing that Salt was chasing after him again. Solar flare, Krillin said once Salt was close enough, raising his hands to his forehead causing a blinding flash of light to emit behind him, with Salt crying out and covering his eyes at the bright light. Seeing his chance, Krillin raised his hand up and began charging 2 reddish-orange key spheres. Doubled Sabikidin, said Krillin before firing the spheres as key waves at Salt, the Mach-N having no time to dodge as the attack slammed into him and vaporized his body. Meanwhile, Goku was dodging Mustard's and Vinegar's attacks, the two having not let up in their assault or giving the Saiyan a chance to retaliate, until he managed to grab hold of Vinegar's leg when he threw a kick at him, before Goku then used an invisible eye blast on Mustard, unleashing a shockwave that knocked the Mach-N back through the air. Goku then pulled Vinegar in close, slamming his elbow into his chest and knocking the wind out of the alien before spinning him around, doing this a few times before throwing Vinegar right at Mustard, who'd recovered from the previous hit and charged the Saiyan, only being stopped when his teammate was thrown at him, with Goku then appearing above them in a burst of speed and slammed his clasped hands down on Mustard's back, sending them both falling back towards the ground. Kamehameha! Goku shouted while firing the powerful ki blast at the two Mach-Ns, with neither of them getting a chance to dodge as the attack collided against them as their bodies were broken down until not even dust was left. With 3 of the Spice Boys dealt with, Goku, Gohan and Krillin flew back down to the lookout to deal with Garlic Jr., only to see Spice had recovered from Gohan's Masenko while Piccolo had also recovered and was snarling at them. You may have defeated Salt, Vinegar and Mustard, but I am stronger than all 3 of them, and now you'll get to experience my power, Spice said as he began powering up, only to be stopped by Garlic Jr. Now Spice, there's no need for that, not when we still have their little friend that they won't risk injuring, and it would be so much more enjoyable to have them be forced to fight Piccolo, Garlic Jr. said with a smirk, with Spice smirking as well and nodded in agreement, only for the two to frown when they saw Piccolo suddenly freeze before he immediately turned around and fired a ki blast from his mouth at the two. The attack from their slaves shocked the two Mach-Ns before they quickly got out of the way, but saw that Piccolo hadn't been aiming at them, he had instead blasted the bottles, freeing Cammy and Mr. Popo. Quickly Mr. Popo, Cammy said while rushing into the lookout to get the sacred water, the only thing that'd be able to undo the effects of the black water mist, and they didn't have long before the effects became permanent. No! Shouted Garlic Jr., enraged that the two were now freed and trying to stop his plans before he gagged as Piccolo extended his arm and grabbed by his throat. Now that was enjoyable, Piccolo stated with a smirk as he swung Garlic Jr. around and slammed him into Spice when he charged the Namekian to free his master, sending them skidding across the lookout. What the hell? How'd you break free Piccolo? Krillin asked as he, Goku and Gohan ran over to the Namekian. I was never controlled to begin with. Our physiology makes us immune to the black water mist, but I needed to pretend I was under their control so I could get close enough to free Cammy and Mr. Popo, said Piccolo, much to their surprise before they turned to Garlic Jr. and Spice as they got up, glaring murderously at the Z-Fighters, only for them to start feeling their power growing, making them look up only to smirk wickedly at seeing a red light in the sky, showing the Makio star had grown close to the earth. You may have freed those two relics, but soon none of you will be alive to see me kill them, Garlic Jr. shouted before and Spice both began growing larger, tearing through their clothes, with the fighters also sensing their power was rapidly growing as well. Then before they could react, Spice appeared behind them before grabbing Gohan and Krillin by their heads and slamming them into the ground, cracking it open, before he then flew into the air with the half Saiyan and former monk in his grasp. Gohan! Krillin! Goku said in worry before he was about to fly after them, along with Piccolo, only for them to be stopped by Garlic Jr. The immortal Makken backhanded the Namekian, sending him crashing through a pillar. Death impact! Shouted Garlic Jr., before firing a powerful, point-blank ki wave at Goku from his belly, the attack crashing right into the Saiyan and sending him flying off the lookout, with Goku managing to catch himself in midair before rushing back to the lookout, only for Garlic Jr. to suddenly appear in front of him, burying his fist into Goku's stomach, the punch making Goku gag in pain before he was sent crashing through a pillar by a spin kick from Garlic Jr., while Piccolo had gotten up from his previous hit and flew right at the Makken. Scatter shot! Piccolo yelled while charging up a ki sphere in each hand before unleashing a barrage of ki spheres at Garlic Jr., each of the spheres exploding on impact, only for Garlic Jr. to fly out of the smoke and punched Piccolo in the face, before quickly getting behind the Namekian and slammed his elbow into his back, before getting in front of him again and backhanded Piccolo towards the lookout, finishing it by flying after Piccolo and grabbing him by the neck before slamming him into the lookout. Was that supposed to hurt Namekian? Garlic Jr. taunted before stomping on Piccolo's back, making the Namekian grit his teeth. What the hell is going on, old man? Piccolo mentally demanded, feeling his strength was being drained and could sense the same from Kami. Apologies, Piccolo, my predecessors aren't as eager to save the Earth as we are, said Kami as he and Popo had been able to get the sacred water, but now had to deal with the spirits of the previous guardians preventing them from being able to release it out into the world. Just hurry! Piccolo mentally shouted before grunting when Garlic Jr. grabbed him by his leg and swung him around, slamming him into Goku when the Saiyan tried attacking him from behind. Gohan and Krillin weren't having much luck with Spice either, the Makken having slammed them against each other in the air, which did give them a chance to get some distance from him, only for any of their attacks to not have any effect against Spice. Destructo Disc! Krillin shouted while forming a Destructo Disc before throwing it at Spice, followed by making several other discs he threw at the Makken, with Spice merely laughing at the Destructo Discs before unleashing a ki blast at them, destroying the discs before continuing on towards Krillin and Gohan, the two quickly flying up to avoid getting hit by the blast, with Gohan charging towards Spice. Sugar ignition! Said Spice, charging up 2 ki spheres before firing them as ki waves at Gohan. Double Masenko! Shouted Gohan, firing 2 ki waves that collided against Spice's own attacks, the half Saiyan gritting his teeth as he poured more ki into the attack to overpower the Makkens, only for Spice to laugh as his attack began pushing Gohan's back, only for him to look at Krillin as he flew up behind Gohan and held his hands up to his forehead. Solar flare! Krillin yelled, releasing a blinding flash of light, making Spice grunt and close his eyes at the sudden light, giving Gohan the chance to overpower his attacks as his double Masenko slammed into him. Seeing they managed to hit Spice, Gohan and Krillin rushed to Makken and began rapidly attacking him, throwing several punches and kicks at Spice, before Gohan slammed his fist into Spice's face, sending him flying through the air with Krillin speeding ahead of him and smashing a dropkick into his stomach, sending him crashing down towards the ground before he and Gohan cupped their hands behind them. Kamehameha! Gohan and Krillin shouted, firing 2 Kamehamehas at Spice, pouring all their power into the blasts, though the two soon gasped in pain when Spice charged right through the ki blasts, delivering a double lariat to their necks, neither of the two able to react as Spice flew them straight towards the lookout before slamming them both through several pillars, ending it by smashing them into the ground, with Goku and Piccolo soon appearing as they were sent crashing into the lookout by Garlic Jr., the four standing up shakily, refusing to give up while Garlic Jr. and Spice floated beside each other. They're quite stubborn, Master. You'd think they'd have given up against the superior species, Spice stated upon seeing that even now they refuse to give up. Yes, the only way insects will learn their place is by annihilating them, said Garlic Jr., as he began gathering his ki, with Spice doing the same as the two prepared to unleash a ki blast to kill the Z-Fighters. Though before they could fire their attacks, they were knocked back by a large fireball slamming into them, burning the two Makkens with Garlic Jr. immediately healing, causing everyone to look to see who threw the attack, only to see Vegeta flying in the air. You're right, The only way insects learn their place is by being annihilated, and right now, the only insects I see are you two, Vegeta said before vanishing in a burst of speed and reappearing right in front of Spice, the Saiyan Prince smashing his fist into the Makin's face, sending Spice flying away from the lookout and back towards the ground, with him ducking under a strike from Garlic Jr., before retaliating with a spin kick that knocked him into the lookout. I'll leave this one for you, Kakarot. The other one is mine, said Vegeta before flying after Spice to deal with him. Worthless monkey! Garlic Jr. shouted while firing a ki blast at Vegeta in anger at the interruption and the attack, only for his aim to be ruined when Piccolo extended his arm and grabbed the immortal Macchian by his throat, throwing him up into the air, with Goku flying up after Garlic Jr., getting above him before immediately dropping down and slamming his feet into his chest, the double kick sending Garlic Jr. crashing back towards the lookout, where Gohan and Krillin got beneath him, scattering bullet. Krillin shouted while firing a slow-moving ki ball into the air, before throwing his hands down causing it to disperse into several smaller and faster ki blasts that slammed into Garlic Jr. Gohan charged his fist up with ki before flying straight at Garlic Jr., and smashed his fist into his chest, sending the immortal Macchian flying back up into the air, with Goku cupping his hands behind him while Piccolo held his index and middle finger up to his forehead. Ha-mi, A. Goku shouted while firing a much larger Kamehameha at Garlic Jr. Special Beam Cannon! Yelled Piccolo while firing 2 ki beams at Garlic Jr., one being straight and the other coiling and spiraling around the second. The 2 attacks colliding against Garlic Jr., with the Special Beam Cannon also drilling right through his body, with Garlic Jr. gritting his teeth before giving a loud shout and unleashing a ki blast from his body that dispersed the 2 attacks while his injuries were healed. Then, before any of them could react, Garlic Jr. appeared in front of Goku and buried his fist in the Saiyan's stomach, knocking the wind out of him, before he then grabbed Goku by his head and flew down to the lookout, using the Saiyan as a battering ram and slammed him through several pillars, with Garlic Jr. slamming him through one last pillar before smashing Goku into the ground, then picking up the pillar and slammed it down on top of Goku. The immortal Macchian then grabbed Piccolo's arm when he extended it towards him, yanking the Namekian in close before smashing his fist into Piccolo's face while slamming him into the ground hard enough to shake the entire lookout. Gohan and Krillin rushed Garlic Jr., only for him to use Piccolo as a club and slammed him into the 2 before charging at the half-Saiyan and former monk, grabbing them both by their collars. Garlic Jr. slammed them into each other before smashing them into the ground, with Garlic Jr. then grabbing them in one hand and Piccolo in the other, throwing all 3 into the air. Death impact! Garlic Jr. shouted while firing a massive ki wave at the 3 that enveloped them until he stopped his attack after a few moments as the trio hit the ground, barely able to move. Piccolo? Piccolo? What happened? Said Kami in worry as he suddenly felt himself grow incredibly weak, making the battle of wills against the deceased guardians even harder. Hurry! Piccolo thought weakly as he tried standing up, only to collapse to the ground. Gohan! Krillin! Piccolo! Goku shouted in worry for his friends and son as he tried throwing the pillar off of him, only to grunt in pain when Garlic Jr. jumped on top of it, crushing the Saiyan. Just give up, Saiyan! Your friends are defeated and soon this entire world will be mine. Surrender and I'll let you live the rest of your miserable life as my slave. Otherwise I'll make you watch as I kill everyone you love. Garlic Jr. said wickedly as he created a ki ball in his hand and aimed it at Gohan, Krillin, and Piccolo. The sight making Goku's eyes widen before they narrowed and he grit his teeth, feeling his power start growing, just like when Frieza had killed Krillin, before with a loud shout. Goku's body exploded with power as his ki flared around him before it soon transformed into a golden color, while the Saiyan's hair spiked up and his eyes turned turquoise, with the eruption of power throwing Garlic Jr. back and destroying the pillar, pinning Goku down as he stood up and glared at Garlic Jr., who was shocked at the sudden transformation, with Vegeta. Meanwhile Vegeta was battling against Spice, who was proving to be a tougher challenge than the Saiyan Prince anticipated, only for them to stop as they suddenly felt a surge of power from the lookout, with Vegeta smirking as he sensed it was Goku and knew what had happened. What is this power? Spice said in shock, not expecting to feel such power, only to hear Vegeta laugh darkly and turn back to the Saiyan. This is a power that an insect like you could never hope to achieve. I'm sure you must have heard of the legend of the Super Saiyan, said Vegeta, making the Mach-En scowl. Of course I've heard of it. A silly little story you monkeys created to Spice said. Only stop as his eyes widened in realization before he started becoming truly scared and concerned since the start of the fight. That's right, this is a power only a Saiyan could hope to reach, a power Kakarot will show your pathetic master. But for you, you wouldn't be worthy of experiencing such might, taunted Vegeta, which made Spice scowl again as he regained his nerve. You don't scare me, monkey! And with his immortality and the Mach-En star empowering him, Master Garlic Jr. can handle some mythological relic. Spice retorted, only to see the Saiyan Prince smirk maliciously. Is that so? Vegeta asked before appearing in front of Spice with a key orb in his hand, which he slammed into the Mach-En's chest, sending him flying into the air from the blast. Gallic gun, fire! Shouted Vegeta while holding his arms behind him before thrusting them forward, unleashing a gigantic, powerful, fuchsia-colored ki beam from his hands and body towards Spice, the sight making Spice pale slightly before he quickly got out of the way of the blast, only to be horrified when he saw that Vegeta hadn't been aiming at him. He was aiming at the Mach-En star. No! Spice yelled in horror as the planet was soon destroyed as he felt his strength leave him. Time to die, Galaxy Breaker! Said Vegeta as he generated electricity around his chest and converted it into a bluish-white aura around his body, before thrusting his chest forward and unleashing a large ki wave right at Spice, who had no time to dodge the blast. Crying out in agony as he was sent flying through the air, Vegeta soon stopped the attack when he could no longer sense or see anything left of the Mach-En. The lookout. Back on the lookout, Garlic Jr. was shocked again as his body began shrinking down to its regular size while his power took a massive drop. What is Garlic Jr. said only to cry out in pain when Goku suddenly appeared in front of him, slamming his elbow down on his shoulder and breaking the immortal Mach-En's arm. It looks like Vegeta took away that power boost you had. That just make this easier, said Goku, as the Mach-En started getting scared at now being completely outclassed. Goku then grabbed Garlic Jr. by the back of his head and brought it straight down on his knee, shattering his nose and nearly caving his entire head in, with Garlic Jr. having no chance to retaliate as Goku then threw him into the air. Twin Kamehameha! Shouted Goku, firing 2 Kamehamehas from both his hands at Garlic Jr., the 2 attacks crashing right into him and began tearing his body apart, much to Garlic Jr.'s agony as his body kept regenerating and being destroyed. When the attack stopped, Garlic Jr. was panting heavily as his body was regenerating, but before it could fully regenerate, Goku was on him again and grabbing him by his throat. You think immortality makes you invincible? Let's see what good it does you, right now, Goku said before flying straight down towards the earth at high speed, with Garlic Jr. crying out as his body couldn't handle the speed and started breaking apart, his pain only increasing 100-fold when they reached the ground and he was smashed, feeling every single bone in his body break and slowly knit themselves back together, only to then find himself being dragged across the ground, screaming in pure pain and agony as his body was ripped to shreds from the friction. Just let it end. Please just let the pain end. Garlic Jr. mentally screamed as his body just kept regenerating no matter how much damage was done, much to his horror that his immortality was now being used against him, with Kami and Popo. Meanwhile, within the lookout, the destruction of the Mach-En star and Goku's transformation into a Super Saiyan had also been sensed by Kami, Popo and the past guardians. Kami, this power, it's Goku? Popo said in shock at sensing how powerful Goku had become all of the sudden. Is this the power of a Super Saiyan? It's like nothing I've ever sensed before, said Kami in shock and awe at sensing Goku become a Super Saiyan for the first time. He's truly come so far, said Popo, remembering when Goku had first arrived on the lookout to be trained, now having long since surpassed everyone else on Earth. Kami nodded in agreement before he saw that the sudden power had also left the past guardians frozen in shock, none of them having sensed such power before. Knowing this was his chance, Kami flared his power, finally winning the battle of wills against his predecessors. Now's our chance, Mr. Popo, Kami said as they ran past the spirits towards the holes of the 7 air currents. Acting quickly, Kami poured the sacred water into the holes, allowing it to spread throughout the entire world and cure everyone infected by the black water mist. But he didn't have time to rest, since he could still sense Goku's power, and knew he needed to end things quickly, as while it seemed Goku was more in control of himself than in his fight against Frieza, Kami would prefer not taking any chances. With Vegeta, Vegeta headed back the lookout after dealing with the Makio Star and Spice, only to stop at the top of Korin's tower when Korin and Yajirobe waved him down. Vegeta! Here, you and the other may need these after all that, Korin said while tossing a bag of senza beans at the Saiyan prince, who caught the bag. Eating one of the beans, Vegeta smirked as all his injuries instantly healed, along with feeling his power had grown from his fight. Flying up to the lookout, Vegeta saw that Krillin, Gohan and Piccolo had managed to pick themselves up after Garlic Jr.'s beating, with Kami and Popo soon exiting the lookout, the Guardian feeling drained from the battle of wills against the past Guardians. Here, the cat below us gave these to me, Vegeta said while giving them the senza beans, much to their gratitude and relief as the three fighters and Guardian ate one each. Oh man, am I glad we have these, said Krillin, relieved at having senza beans with how many times they fought such powerful opponents. Indeed, and I managed to spread the sacred water through Earth's air currents. Everyone infected by the black water mist should be cured momentarily, Kami said, much to their relief that everyone would be cured soon, though suddenly their attention turned to a crash, only to be shocked at seeing a mutilated and slowly regenerating Garlic Jr. had crashed into the lookout, with Goku soon appearing and looking at him murderously before he moved to attack him again. Dad, stop. He's finished, you don't have to keep attacking, Gohan said while getting in front of his father, not wanting him to keep brutalizing Garlic Jr. like that. Yeah, just calm down, Goku, the fight's done, we've won and we're all alright. So is everyone else that was infected, added Krillin, wanting his friend to calm down. It won't be done until he can't try anything anymore, Goku retorted, wanting to make sure Garlic Jr. can't hurt any of his friends and family ever again, even if he had to keep tearing him apart again and again until he couldn't regenerate anymore. And he won't, we'll seal him away where he can't escape, said Kami, having had Popo grab the vase that once contained the black water mist to seal Garlic Jr. in, not missing the irony in using it as Garlic Jr.'s new prison. Right now you need to calm down before you lose control, Piccolo said sternly while looking at Goku with narrowed eyes, with Goku scowling and glaring at Garlic Jr., who looked completely terrified of him, and would be trying to escape if his body still wasn't regenerating. How disappointing, Kakarot, to give in to your baser instincts like that. And here I thought you didn't want to be like the rest of our kind unless you've finally begun embracing your ruthlessness. In that case, perhaps you have a Saiyan spirit after all, Vegeta said with a smirk, which seemed to finally snap Goku out of his anger, with him looking at himself in surprise while seeing that his hands were covered in Garlic Jr.'s blood. Clenching his fists, Goku took a few deep breaths before he powered down and transformed back to normal, much to everyone's relief. Now for you, said Piccolo as he and Kami turned to Garlic Jr., before they performed the evil containment wave on the immortal Makin, sealing him inside the vase before sealing it shut. We'll make sure this is sealed away somewhere that no one can find it, Kami said with Piccolo nodding in agreement, either of them wanting to risk Garlic Jr. being found and freed like Demon King Piccolo had been. Wonderful, Kakarot. I'm sure you and your brat are wondering where your other offspring is. He's at the woman's home, Vegeta said before flying off back towards Capsule Corp, with Goku and Gohan being surprised before flying after him to get Naruto, while Krillin went to pick up Marin, later Mount Paozu. Goku and Gohan had picked up Naruto at Capsule Corp, relieved that he'd been found and kept safe, along with knowing they'll have to make sure he doesn't fly away again. With them then immediately making their way back home to check on Chi-Chi and show her Naruto's fine. Goku! Gohan! Naruto! Oh, thank goodness you're alright, Chi-Chi said while running outside the moment she saw her husband and sons, with her being especially happy and relieved at seeing her youngest son was alright, immediately taking him out of Goku's arms and holding him tightly. Yeah, he was at Capsule Corp after he was found flying around by Vegeta. Apparently Saiyans can fly even as babies, said Goku, much to Chi-Chi's shock before she looked at Naruto with narrowed eyes. You better not think of flying off on your own like that again, you got it, mister? Said Chi-Chi, with the half-Saiyan merely giggling at his mother and clapping his hands. What happened anyway? Chi-Chi asked with everything feeling fuzzy after she saw the black mist in the air, only coming to not that long ago. It's kind of a long story, said Gohan as he and Goku began telling her everything that happened, with Garlic Jr. unleashing the black water mist, saving Krillin and Marin from their infected friends, fighting the Spice Boys and Garlic Jr. on the lookout, and everyone thankfully being saved, with Chi-Chi looking at them with wide eyes at everything that happened, but felt relieved that everyone was saved and Garlic Jr. was sealed away before she let out a sigh. Well, with everything that happened and with Naruto now back home, I guess it wouldn't hurt if you wanted to go to Kame House for the party, said Chi-Chi, willing to let them go to the party after everything that happened, especially now that Naruto's back and safe, with her words making Goku and Gohan smile, happy that they'll get to go to the party and see all their friends. Later Kame House. It wasn't long before the Sun family had arrived at Kame House for the party, which they learned was for Turtle's 1000th birthday, with them seeing Bulma and her family, along with a reluctant Vegeta were also present. Hey Vegeta! I didn't get the chance to thank you earlier, but thanks for looking after and protecting Naruto, Goku said while smiling at the Saiyan Prince, thankful that he protected his youngest son. What are you talking about, Kakarot? I merely gave the boy to the woman and she looked after him, said Vegeta, not wanting them to think he's going soft or that he's nice. Well, that's not what Bulma told us. She said you protected Naruto from the black water mist, after saving him from a pterodactyl, then protecting him from the infected people who tried breaking into the compound. So we want to thank you for protecting our son, said Chi-Chi with a small smile. As while she may not like Vegeta much for his past actions, she was thankful for him protecting Naruto, with this making Vegeta growl in annoyance and embarrassment as he looked at Bulma, who smiled cheekily and waved at him, before he scoffed and looked away. Whatever. I'm only making sure one of the few Saiyans left doesn't die because you are an idiot, Kakarot. Don't expect me to save the brat the next time you lose track of him, retorted Vegeta before walking away, unaware of Piccolo watching them with a smirk on his face. I guess your kids have a way of connecting with unexpected people, Goku, thought Piccolo, seeing that Naruto was beginning to have a similar effect on Vegeta that Gohan has had on him. Meanwhile, Krillin was sitting on the beach with an unsure and contemplative expression on his face, while watching Marin swim in the water before smiling and waving at him, which he hesitantly returned, something the others noticed. Is something wrong, Krillin? Gohan asked while going over to his friend. Yeah man, you aren't celebrating or spending time with your girl, said Yamcha, wondering what was wrong with his fellow Turtle School student. I'm just not feeling very up to celebrating, and Marin, I'm really not sure about our relationship, if I'm good enough for her, Krillin said, still feeling shy and unsure if their relationship will work, with the others looking at him in surprise. Seriously, dude? Any girl would be lucky to have you. You're one of the strongest people I know and one of the nicest, Yamcha said, with Gohan nodding in agreement. Yeah, you're a really great guy, Krillin, and loyal to the people you care about. I doubt many people would be willing to go to an alien planet to save their friends, even willing to die to save them. And Marin seems to really like you too, said Gohan while putting a hand on his friend's shoulder, with Krillin looking at them in surprise. You guys really think so? Krillin asked, since with their recent fights, he hasn't felt very strong with how many times he's been beaten and even killed before. He looked at Goku when he put a hand on his shoulder and smiled at the former monk. We know it, Krillin, take it from someone who didn't even know what marriage was growing up. If there's one thing you can trust, it's what your heart is telling you. What's yours telling you about Marin? Said Goku, having never regretted marrying Chi-Chi, even when he didn't initially know what a bride was, and has enjoyed every day with her and their family. Krillin looked at his friends for a few moments before looking at Marin and soon smiled at her. It's telling me I should give our relationship a real chance, Krillin said, now feeling more confident in continuing his relationship with Marin. Unknown location. Though unknown to everyone as they were celebrating, washing up on an unknown island was the beaten and battered form of Spice, the Maken having just barely survived Vegeta's attack, but had been thrown into the ocean where the current carried him around. I swear, I will, make those Saiyans pay. Spice said weakly, swearing he'll get revenge on the Saiyans for destroying the Makio star and defeating Garlic Jr., before he waving his hand at an insect that was flying too close to his face, before it got in close and bit him, making the Maken smack the spot where it was, only for the insect to fly away before he could crush it. with the insect flying away from the island and over the ocean, soon entering a mountain range surrounded by a forest, the insect flying through a small and unseen hole in the mountain, soon coming out into a large lab with a single person inside, with it being an old man with slightly tanned skin, blue eyes, a large bushy white mustache, matching eyebrows, and long white hair with the top of his head being bald. His clothing is black, with orange sections at the upper arms, and light yellow sleeves at the lower arms. His pants are dark brown, while his shoes are black and white. This was Dr. Gero, a former scientist of the now defunct Red Ribbon Army. "Ah, more DNA samples, let's see what you've collected," Gero said with a smirk as his fly drone connected to the computer and began uploading the DNA samples it collected from the Spice Boys and Garlic Jr. Yes, these will do nicely for Cell, but first we'll see how you both do," Gero said while turning his attention to two sedated young teenagers lying on metal tables. "Let's see how Son Goku can handle the two of you, Android 17 and Android 18, Gero stated wickedly, knowing he'll soon avenge the Red Ribbon Army and the death of his son. A year and a half have passed since the battle on Namek and Garlic Jr.'s attempt to take over the world with the Black Water Mist, with things having remained peaceful since then, while Bulla had been born during this time as well, along with the Namekian Dragon Balls having been restored and allowed the Namekians to wish for a new planet Namek to be created, reviving the Namekians that Vegeta had killed, and wishing them all back to their new planet, though Den had chosen to stay on Earth after Kami had spoken to him and saw the potential in the young Namekian, as well as his abilities, to become the next guardian of Earth. Den having accepted the offer, wanting to help repay the Z-Fighters for their help, and getting the chance to stay with his friends on Earth. Goku had also started training to master his Super Saiyan form to the point where he'll be able to enter it at will and control the increased aggression it causes, knowing while the form is already powerful, it's still uncontrollable, and the Saiyan knew it'd be even stronger once he mastered it and could control himself. It was also during this time that Naruto and Bulla had their first birthdays, with Vegeta dropping a large bombshell on Bulla's birthday. Flashback. "Oh, they're both so adorable," Bulma said smiling as she watched Bulla and Naruto run around, laughing and smiling as they played with her daughter's presents, while Gohan followed after them to make sure they didn't try flying away. While around them, their friends and family were mingling and chatting with some of the Z-Fighters, also making sure to stay close to any potential exits, knowing that even if they're only 1 year old, Naruto and Bulla could easily slip away if they saw a chance. "Yeah, they really are, though I'm still surprised at how quickly they're already walking and running," said Chi-Chi, also smiling at the two, having not expected them to have start being able to move around already, which also made it that much harder to keep an eye on them, as now they were able to move much faster rather than just flying away when no one was watching. Maybe, but it's also expected, they are half Saiyans and were already able to fly at just a few months old. Being able to walk and run seems pretty standard after that, stated Bulma, figuring that they would develop faster than normal human babies, with Chi-Chi nodding in agreement, since it was true. "As long as they don't grow up too fast," Chi-Chi said, not wanting either children to have to grow up too fast and enjoy themselves. "Well, either way, they're gonna be great friends growing up. Even better that they'll get to be rivals when they start training," Goku said with a grin, knowing that Naruto and Bulla will definitely be powerful fighters. "Perhaps they could more than merely companions," Vegeta said, getting the attention of Bulma, Goku and Chi-Chi. "What do you mean, Vegeta?" questioned Goku, wondering what the Saiyan Prince meant. "I believe it would be beneficial to have them be engaged and married when they're older. With their heritage and power, it would make sense for them to be partners in everything, allowing them to grow stronger by each other's side," revealed Vegeta, much to their shock that he'd suggest engaging Naruto and Bulla. "No! Naruto is too young to even think of being interested in girls, let alone dating or marrying one," Chi-Chi immediately said, with Bulma nodding in agreement. "The same goes for Bulla, she just turned 1 and you're already thinking of having her marry someone," Bulma added, not wanting her daughter to have something like that hanging over her head. "Yeah, they're right. That seems like something Naruto and Bulla should decide when they're older," Goku said with a frown. "It's merely a suggestion and one that'd be for the best since they're the same age, they're both half Saiyans. They would grow up knowing each other and training together. The choice simply seems obvious," Vegeta said with a shrug, making them frown, though at the same time Bulma and Chi-Chi could also understand his reasoning. Given the Bluenet is heiress of one of the world's leading technological corporations, while the Ravenet was a princess, they could understand why Vegeta was proposing such a thing, along with his reasons for it. But that's also why they were the most adamant against the idea, since it is a possibility they once had to deal with and didn't want their children to have to worry something like that as well. Besides, outside of the royal family of Planet Vegeta and a few special cases, Saiyans don't have a concept of marriage. Those that did care enough to be married usually practiced polygamy over monogamy, as having multiple spouses would ensure they produce more powerful offspring, while only a handful, if any, Saiyans chose to only take a single partner, added Vegeta, surprising them at this knowledge. Oh really? And what exactly is a Saiyan's ideal partner? Bulma asked while looking at Vegeta with a raised brow. Someone strong enough to stand beside them and not be cowed by anything or anyone, including their partner, both to prove that they have spirit and aren't afraid, along with showing they'd have the strength to pass on to their offspring. There would also be the rare Saiyans that'd choose a partner out of genuine love, whether they were strong or not, choosing them because that's who they wanted, Vegeta said, with his words making Goku frown thoughtfully, which Chi-Chi noticed. Are you wondering about your own parents? Asked Chi-Chi as she looked at her husband. Yeah, just wondering what they were like, if they had been married, Goku replied, unable to help but wonder about his birth parents with this new information on Saiyan culture. Wondering if they'd been married, if they only got together to have stronger children or genuinely loved each other, only being able to imagine what they were like from his encounter with Raditz, and what he could have been like if he never hit his head, which didn't help his opinion. You worked with Raditz before? Did he ever mention his parents? Bulma asked while turning to the Saiyan prince, who merely shrugged in response. I never paid much attention to Raditz, only caring if the information seemed relevant or worth remembering. He may have mentioned that they were married and his father was a powerful Saiyan for a low-class warrior, claiming that he could rival, if not surpass, most elite-class Saiyans, something I was initially skeptical about. But now that I've seen Kakarot fight and achieve Super Saiyan, I guess those claims may not be as far-fetched as I originally thought. I believe he also mentioned that they had sent Kakarot to Earth, just before planet Vegeta was destroyed by that meteor impact that we now know was actually Frieza, Vegeta replied, having never really listened to anything Raditz may have said about his family, with this making them frown in thought, before shaking their heads. Well, getting back to the topic at hand, let's hold off on any arrangements until Naruto and Bulla are older, to give them a chance to develop a more organic bond and let them decide if they want to be together, said Bulma, with Chi-Chi and Goku nodding in agreement. Agreed, that way they'd at least have a better understanding of things like that, along with being older, rather than just accepting they're going to be together, letting them experience things on their own. Chi-Chi added, willing to agree with an arranged marriage if it's something they wanted and fully understood it. Vegeta nodded in acceptance at this, before they suddenly heard an explosion and crash, making everyone look only to see a giant hole in the ceiling, looking to what could have made it. They saw Naruto and Bulla pointing at Gohan, who had a disbelieving look on his face. It wasn't me, Gohan exclaimed while shaking his head upon seeing everyone looking at him, no one noticing Naruto and Bulla quickly running away while grinning at each other. End flashback. The two toddlers having managed to make it halfway out of the city before they were found, luckily before they could get hurt, with this also showing the Z-Fighters that they had to keep an even closer eye on the two if they were starting to use their ki offensively, and would have to start teaching them how to control it. Currently though, Gohan was sitting inside his home, having finished with his studies for the day and taking a break, only for him to hear the phone start ringing, making him go downstairs to answer it. Hello, Gohan said after picking up the phone. Hey Gohan, it's me, Krillin. Is Goku there? Krillin asked on the other end. Hey Krillin, and no, he isn't. Dad's out training right now, but he should be home soon. Did you want me to take a message for him? Questioned Gohan, wondering if he had something important to tell his father. Nah, it's fine. I actually wanted to tell all of you this. A few days ago, I finally worked up the courage and proposed to Marin, and she said yes. We're actually preparing the wedding right now and wanted to let everyone know, revealed Krillin, while the half Saiyan could practically hear the smile on the former monk's face. Really? That's awesome, Krillin. I'll be sure to let Mom and Dad know, Gohan replied with a smile, happy for his friend. Thanks, Gohan. We plan to have the wedding on our 2-year anniversary, so it'll be even more special, Krillin said, feeling happy and excited to get married to his girlfriend turned fiancée. That's really great, We'll be sure to, said Gohan, only to suddenly freeze, with Krillin doing the same on the other end. The reason being that both fighters just sensed a powerful, yet familiar, power level approaching Earth, one that both of them recognized despite how it seemed different. Krillin, said Gohan, wanting to make sure he sensed it too. Yeah, I sense it and there's no doubt about it. That's Frieza, Krillin said, not believing he was somehow still alive, before the two immediately hung up to get ready, with Gohan about to go get his battle armor, only to stop when Goku burst through the door. Gohan! Get ready, I just sensed, Goku said, having just sensed Frieza during his training and quickly rushed home to warn his family. I sensed him too, after Krillin called, he sensed Frieza too, replied Gohan, confirming that he already sensed Frieza, making the Saiyan nod before he looked up at the sky in anger, angry at both himself for giving Frieza some of his energy, and that despite surviving his counterattack when he took advantage of his kindness, the tyrant still didn't learn his lesson, with Goku swearing that this time he'll make sure to finish the job. Brief's compound, son of a bifemale dog, Vegeta yelled as he slammed his hands on the table, while quickly stopping his cursing at the look he got from Bulma, who had Bulla on her lap. What, still ticked off about the shirt? Bulma asked while looking at the pink shirt the Saiyan prince was wearing. Given his armor and regular Earth clothes were either all filthy or damaged from training, they had to give him her father's bad man shirt, something she enjoyed doing, with how angry he got at having to wear a pink shirt. No, yes actually, I'm absolutely livid, but that's not the point. That idiot Kakarot failed. Frieza's still alive, retorted Vegeta rather calmly that he's still angry about the shirt, before shouting again when he sensed Frieza's power and knew that Goku failed to actually kill him, with this reveal making Bulma's and her parents' eyes widen in shock before getting worried that Frieza was now coming to Earth, space. Meanwhile, within a spaceship, Frieza, who was now covered in multiple mechanical and cybernetic parts, stood beside his father, King Cold. King Cold looked very similar to Frieza in his second form, towering over everyone else with horns sprouting from his head, a dark blue dome on his head, deep purple skin, bioarmor on his wrists that was white, a red cape, and standard battle armor that was black with elongated yellow shoulders and midsection. My, this planet is certainly lovely, like a blue pearl resting in the dark sea of space, just waiting to plucked. It'd make for a nice little vacation spot to travel to, occasionally, Cold said, admiring the sight of Earth as they approached it. Yes, it does seem to have a certain beauty to it, though I believe it would also fetch a nice price at an auction. After I've dealt with those worthless monkeys and their little friends that killed my men and tried killing me, them, and every other insect on the planet, said Frieza while restraining his anger, wanting to let it out entirely once he gets his hands on the Saiyans and their allies. Indeed, my son, though if this Super Saiyan is as powerful as you say he is, would it not have been better to bring Cooler along with us? It could even be a little family bonding, conquering a planet together and wiping out the last of the Saiyans, said Cold with a smirk, only for Frieza to scoff at the idea, mostly due to the sibling rivalry between him and his brother. Oh please, he'd only get in the way, even he's incompetent and weaker than us. After all, he's the firstborn and yet I was still made your heir and successor, father. That alone shows who is inferior between me and him, Frieza bragged, having always enjoyed holding it over his brother's head that he was made their father's heir and successor rather than Cooler himself, with Cold just rolling his eyes at his son's attitude, since the reason he didn't make Cooler his heir was because he reminded him too much of himself, as well as being fully aware that his eldest son had unlocked a fifth form and surpassed Frieza. The only reason he didn't tell youngest son of this was because he didn't want to run the risk of infighting within their family and the Planet Trade Organization, while also wondering if he should try teaching him some humility once they were done on Earth, so he doesn't let something like this happen again, before focusing back on the planet as the two and their men continued their way towards Earth. Back on Earth, the Z-fighters had made their way to the spot where Frieza's ship would be landing, with Vegeta immediately going up to Goku, narrowing his eyes at the other Saiyan. Why is Frieza still alive? Vegeta demanded, wanting to know why Frieza was still alive when he was supposed to have died on Namek. I spared his life. After I'd beat him once he used his full power. I didn't see any point to finish the fight since he was already beaten and saw I could have finished him off. But then he attacked me when I tried leaving, only to end up cutting himself in half with his own attack before he begged me for some energy, and I gave it to him. only for him to try attacking me again. That's when I did try to kill him, but it looks like he survived, Goku explained while looking downtrodden and angry, with Vegeta being enraged at hearing this. You actually gave him your energy? After everything he'd done, you were still going to spare him? Look at where that's gotten you now, Kakarot, shouted Vegeta while looking ready to attack Goku after he'd be willing to spare Frieza, despite everything he'd done. Hey! Lay off him, Vegeta, Goku's already beating himself up. And it's because of Goku's kind nature that most of us are even here, right now, Tien said while seeing how this was affecting Goku. Tien's right, most of us were Goku's enemies when we first met. I tried robbing him. Tien and Kaiatsu were from a rival martial arts school, and Piccolo tried to kill him, added Yamcha, knowing it's only because of Goku's kind nature that most of them are where they are now. And in case you forgot, it's because of Goku's kind nature you're even alive at all, Piccolo stated, with Krillin nodding in agreement since he'd intended to kill Vegeta if it wasn't for Goku. And they could see how Frieza's arrival was affecting him, since this was essentially the first and only time that Goku's mercy has failed and had instead been thrown back in his face, making them wonder if his training on Yardrat and initial desire to not be wished back to Earth was because he needed time to find himself after Namek, to learn when some enemies deserved mercy and when others didn't. TSK, whatever. But Frieza dies for good this time, Vegeta said while turning his attention back to the spaceship as it entered Earth's atmosphere, having no intentions of letting the tyrant get away. Guys, I'm sensing another power level in there. One that seems to be just as strong as Frieza, said Gohan, having been unable to sense it before due to only focusing on Frieza's power signature. But now he could sense another one as well, with the others nodded in agreement, also sensing the second signature, making them worried about who else could be on the ship. That's probably King Cold, his father, said Vegeta, making the others look at him in surprise. His father? Krillin asked, not expecting Frieza to arrive with his father. Yes, he was also Frieza's predecessor before he retired, passing on control of the then Cold Force to Frieza, who renamed it the Frieza Force. I never met him in person since he retired while I was still in an incubation chamber, so I only really heard about him, and from what I'm sensing, his power level looks to be comparable to Frieza's final form, Vegeta replied, which only made them more worried at fighting Frieza and Cold. Let's get closer to see if we can observe the situation and what we're dealing with, said Piccolo, since from what he's heard Frieza, nor any of his men, could sense Ki and relied on their scouters, so they'd be able to get in closer without worry of being sensed. Everyone nodded in agreement as they moved to get closer just as the ship landed and opened up as Frieza, Cold, and a group of their soldiers walked down the ramp and looked around. Crap! It looks like King Cold is only in his second form. Possibly his first form given how he's probably much older than Frieza, Krillin muttered, making everyone concerned since if his power rivaled Frieza's final form while just being in his second or first form, then just how powerful was King Cold in his own final form? Not as pretty as the view from space, but I suppose even a pearl will have a few imperfections that need to be worked out, Cold state, frowning at the rocky terrain. Quite, and there are several imperfections I already have in mind to deal with. Speaking of which, soldiers, we'll be doing something a little different, rather than just eliminating every living thing. Let's make a game of it, shall we? A scavenger hunt to see who gets the most point, Frieza said with a sadistic smirk, wanting to turn this into a game and really torment the Saiyans and their allies. The scavenger hunt will proceed as such. Normal human heads are worth 1 point, Namekian heads are worth 20, filthy half-Saiyan brats, 50, and if you find any miserable, odious, insubordinate, full-blooded monkey garbage, you win. Well, off you go, ordered Frieza, with the men nodding as they moved to begin the hunt. But before they could even take a few steps, 2 blurs shot past them, with several of the men being cut down, and the rest were vaporized by ki blasts, with 2 young adults, both looking to be 21 years old, landed in front of Frieza and Cold, one being a boy and the other a girl, the sight of them shocking the father-son duo, along with the Z-Fighters for several reasons. The first being that both of them had brown monkey tails sprouting from their tailbones, showing that both of them were Saiyans. And what was shocking for the Z-Fighters were their appearances and who they looked like, with the boy having dark, spiky black hair, pale skin, blue eyes, and 3 unique whisker-like marks on his cheeks, while his attire consisted of a red scarf on his neck, A black long-sleeved shirt with a black trench coat on top, black gloves, black pants with a silver belt that had a red and black biohazard symbol for the buckle, as well as black boots, and the girl had turquoise hair that fell down to just past her shoulders, pale skin, and matching turquoise eyes, with her wearing a black tank top that left her midriff exposed, a red hoodie with a white interior and the Capsule Corp logo on the left shoulder, red wristbands, red fingerless gloves, blue skin-tight pants with the right leg cut off at her mid-thigh, a brown belt with some brown pouches attached to it, and white boots with yellow striped toes. "So, how many points are those?" asked the boy, while the girl smirked and formed a large keyblade from her right hand. "And do we get bonus point by killing the both of you?" she asked while aiming the keyblade at Frieza and Cold, as everyone could only look at them in shock.